All
right, well, sorry, the time for the board meeting is here, and so anyway, I know that Eric had said he was going to try to attend, and Eric, I don't know, Andrew just emailed me, so let me just take a look at what Andrew. Okay, he's not going to be, he has a appointment for his sons, but he's provided a really good summary here, so.
You should make a rule that any meeting members should not have kids.
Oh. What about Eric Spiegenberg?
Yeah, I thought he said he wasn't gonna attend.
So it might just be Eric Schreier.
Yeah.
This is where I'd be able to see people that are needing to come in, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should pop up saying they they're employee.
Okay.
Yeah, you can minimize that if you want to, and it'll tell you if somebody comes in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thing is, I told my coworkers about no kids policy, and sure enough, two of my coworkers got kids now. And we do the whole pregnancy thing
That's it.
and 12 weeks off and
Really?
Did they come back though? I mean.
they did come back, thank God. Yes. But you gotta sit there and worry about it, you know, and then you ain't cover from them for that time too.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool picture, Jeff, whatever that was.
Of me, or,
Yeah, about that, no, the city or whatever.
oh, the city of Billings, yeah, the city of Billings.
It was.
I thought you were talking about my shiny head.
She's blind.
Yeah.
She's blind, yeah.
Picture two.
All right. My computer is having issues, so I might, Gail, can I unplug you?
Oh, absolutely.
I think this is you. And I think it's just
With
related.
context to that batteries, because nobody not just listening to you, just saying, Gail can unplug you.
All right, so all right, it is time for our monthly board meeting. Hopefully you all got to see the agenda that was sent out. I apologize for not having the board packet out. I was just focused on the retreat packet. So Nate, I didn't have a space for you to put the budget information. Oh, you did? All right. Okay. I got to take a chance to look at the minutes briefly, and I used it for conversation with Gail. So they were very valuable in that sense. So thank you, Hillary, for that. Does anybody have any changes or a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Motion to approve the minute.
So Nate is motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
That's second from Mike Powell. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing no discussion, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, it passed unanimously. All right. So the next thing is board reports. Eric, I don't know if I can see if anybody.
If you hover up to the top, hover over that green bar at the top, just put your cursor to the top and kind of hover around that, it should pop down if there's anybody waiting.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that on my screen.
Oh, you're not.
Oh, you
So-
might have to
I
exit
can
out
go
of
in
your.
PowerPoint, yeah,
I can go into the back end and see if he's,
okay. Let me just go to my PowerPoint and get out of it. Oh, there, yeah, there we go.
yeah, he's.
And then participants, yeah, it just looks like us still.
Mhm.
All right, so start with going around the table. Rob, you like a report on the scholarships and education?
Yeah, I think I shared most recently, communications I've had with some of the teachers. I'm trying to coordinate the joint project between the two schools, and they're back on track, back in school now, and it's going to be challenging, but we're staying on top of it. you know, I think the most challenging part is if they wanted to do a bed mapping project, you're just starting with it now. You know, the plants are all cured out, and so doing a flight to capture the image, you know, capture imagery is a little, I don't know. I think that's gonna be, but we're moving forward.
All right.
That's all. Oh, and I shared another email. I was at Lowe's buying some paint, and I ran into this guy, and he was taking all these paint chips.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, I hope you don't have to decide on those colors. And anyway, he turns out he was a teacher at the CWE school, and they were gonna make murals with these paint chips. And there's, you know, fire going on up there, and he's an ex-Forest Service guy, so we talked about possibilities for the CWE Lake School to, you know, apply for education grant and to, you know, do something going forward. So that's what I meant. It always takes a local champion. You gotta find somebody, grab their hand and walk them through the process. And so fortuitously, that happens.
Got a connection there.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
I heard a story on YPR. I don't know if you've heard about this too. There is a substantial lack in rural like they're having a really significant challenge getting educators to even apply for jobs in rural Montana. Maybe it's in Bozeman and Billings and Missoula too. I don't know. Great Falls, but anyway, the story had talked about how I guess there's this platform out there for fairly advanced. It was like pre-calculus or something like that, and instead of having an actual teacher, they're going online and watching videos and stuff like that in order to be able and the challenges the kids were having in order to be able to learn that in that type of environment. So I don't know if there's anything we can do in that area, but it was just something that I'd heard that's challenging our state right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dilemma, right? They can't afford to live and work in Bozeman or Missoula, and then they don't want to live in Broadus.
Right.
So.
I forget, how did Belgrade schools get their ArcGIS online license? Was that a scholarship to purchase their license, or it's given out for free?
You know, yeah, a long time ago, I believe it was like 1999. We negotiated a statewide site license for educational institutions with Esri.
It's cool.
Yeah, so any school that wants software can get it for free.
Have we put that out on social media?
I don't think so.
I think
It
that's something
would
we
be a
should
good reminder.
advertise. Yeah,
Well, especially, you know, as you get into the GIS day,
yeah,
you know, or leading up to it, letting schools know that they can.
yeah.
How busy are you gonna feel when all of a sudden you got 20, 30 schools out of nowhere wanting to want to get a license bill? Not that that's gonna happen.
Well, if it's been approved through the licensing for the state, then they've already approved it, right? That's what I'm hearing. Tell me if I'm hearing that wrong.
You know, institutions tend to have a short memory when their bottom line is concerned, but I would think so.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it tears off the university systems,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have perpetual licenses.
Yeah, they have amazing licenses. Like, I know that MSU, like they've changed the name of their lab, but it was called GeoSwirl last summer with the water work that they were doing for us. And they have all the licenses and they're like up to date and
So
most
something,
current.
you know, again, somebody has to do this,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Maybe we find a volunteer somewhere in the membership, but leading up to GIS Day,
Mhm.
and our intentions for mapathons and other things, wouldn't it be nice to have a little, a training? Small training, like it could be a recording
Mhm.
on how to access those licenses. And once you have them, what you could do with an AGOL license.
Well, I put on the ArcGIS online basic training at the conference twice now, and we had the Belgrade teachers there. And they were asking me all sorts of questions afterwards. How do we access our admin account, and how do we do certain things? And ArcGIS online, and I tried to answer as many questions as possible, but there's so many things to be an administrator on ArcGIS online that you can't just explain.
So
Well, but it's good that you had the class and stuff.
maybe let's contact Jan Cunningham. Right? Say, hey, we want to get the word out. These licenses are available for schools. Do you have any recommendations or, limitations on that? And then maybe you tap Sarah Tabor at Belgrade and you say, hey, we want to do a training for other teachers. Want to help?
Every 7th grade geography teacher could be using it as a module in their class.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So like, I kind of want to do it ahead of the actual day and then provide a resource. Like even a YouTube video or something. On Teams.
So sorry, I have a meeting with Jan scheduled next Tuesday. So, what did you want me to bring to her attention? I was just checking to see when that was, so,
Whatever you think is important
Okay.
too,
all right.
like just in terms of, if we follow Gail's advice and we broadcast this,
How do we make the understanding how to use that resource available?
Yeah.
or is Esri prepared
Oh,
to
yeah.
get all these,
I'm sure it's nothing off of them.
I know, but it's
Yeah.
courtesy, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we do this without souring our relationship?
Right.
And, do you have any suggestions?
Can we ask Sue, is that like specific to schools or could that be used for like the Girl Scouts, like education programs?
It was for schools,
Okay,
but I don't think Jack Dangerman would shoot down the Girl Scouts. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like one year I was teaching GIS at the university and I asked my students, I'm like, send an email to Esri, ask for free software.
Yeah.
And everybody who wrote an email got CD.
yeah.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
That's easy.
Because I was looking online and I know they used to give grants out for 4-H. Like as an.
Oh, yeah.
education, and so I was wondering maybe we could, like if those after school clubs be a part of that.
Well, first we need to talk to Jan to get ideas of.
No, but
That's
yeah,
absolutely-
4-H, Girl Scouts.
4-H would be an awesome thing to get connected with.
Yeah. Well, and then they have the science books for high schools too, so that could be for school, but it's kind of like fun.
And so with our education grants, what we have found most likely to apply, the most successful stuff have been the after school.
I have a connection at the Montana School, right?
That's
That would be a great place to,
that's really where we have the biggest.
yeah. There's that, and then I might actually have some very close teachers to get you contact. You want to high schoolers?
Wonder if there's like a listserv, like some public instruction.
what I was
listserv
wondering.
you get onto, or send out an email to every school teacher.
It's not like we haven't been doing that for 100 years. You know what I mean?
Have we? I don't.
And we do every year. We send out, hey, we've got all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the teachers, they got to record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to change. If somebody's teaching GIS, this is another tool that can have somebody help them with that. For that problems. Yeah, I always see something. Talk to Dan about this. That first course. Absolutely.
And there might be a link on there somewhere as we might have a little page, right? I think can connect Ed or something like that. This program that they had. Because most likely what will happen is a teacher or have somebody, right, will go to a website, create an account, get code, So what you point out?
Okay.
I think that's the longest report I've ever given.
Well, thank you, Rob. All right, Nate, you wanna talk about it?
So for the month of August, we had $200 in revenue for, membership. And,
We should, I mean, we should have the yearly thing now, we should get this stuff.
Probably somebody doing it late, because of their budget or something.
Oh, well,
Must have been an institution, right?
it could have been 4.
so how does that work then? Okay, so I know how to get it, because the whole point was that we were gonna have everything done on March 1st.
Well, that's when the new renewal cycle is due, but
So when they get in, they'll pay right away.
yeah, that just doesn't mean everybody pays on time, unfortunately. But let's see who it was, and it was just with August, she said. I mean, so that's another thing, like, how long do you give people? Like, that's up to you guys. Like, if somebody's waiting this long to pay, then do you do a late fee? Do you?
And I mean, do we want to say no to people who?
No, we don't wanna say no, I'm just trying to think, I mean, obviously, I mean, we talked about this over and over again, from the whole getting it set up and stuff, but obviously there's some things that we left out or whatever, so like something like this.
This is why Marissa has the proration stuff, Michelle.
Well, that's by starting their time date.
Oh, that's yeah, that's for
Yeah.
new members, right?
This is just like any kind of subscription you pay, right? Like if you have a subscription to something and it's due on March 1st, but you pay it late, maybe you get a $20 late fee or whatever. So it's up to you to set whatever those parameters are.
Well, okay, so I'm just wondering why we have a $200 increase. So basically, somebody just came in, what we're
Somebody
saying,
just-
renew, see, that's, they shouldn't be renewing, what I'm saying.
But for the people who,
Well, yeah, they would, if they're already a member and they're.
If they're renewing, they should be renewing on,
Well, they probably were supposed to renew on March 1st.
but they just did it early.
They forgot.
Well, or they're doing it really late.
Or,
Oh,
yeah, their budget
I
doesn't go
see.
through.
They didn't get permission from the
Right.
supervisor.
Right, I
Yeah.
can think of a ton of
Well,
reasons,
it's the
like,
end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, and then you
like,
have to
we got
wait.
some money, you wanna spend it?
yep.
And it's, or it's the beginning. of-
Or it's the beginning of the fiscal year, that's what I was thinking, like, oh yeah, it's the beginning of fiscal year, let's make sure we pay this.
It would, it make it
No,
easier.
I don't need to know who it is.
Well, it'd be interesting to see this.
and then I guess for these people who did become members.
I will
in
judge
August,
them, don't tell me who it is. I'm just kidding.
March 1.
Yes.
Yep.
It'll be done March 1, I mean, they're just. They need to pay up.
Oh, it's- I was thinking.
You're right, I didn't think about that, I mean, when they have to pay, but I guess that's something to talk about. Not that we have to dwell on that, that's just. One of the things that was during my.
And then,
That's my plans on
paid the invoice to full scope. And that's $1,727. And so, currently right now in our savings, we have 24,590.05. And then I did open up a CD at Wells Fargo for 25,000. And that it will mature on January 28th of 2024. And I have to go in person and withdraw that from a CD back to our savings, or else it's gonna redo it all CD.
Well, is it, so is it going automatically, if you don't go in there? Well, that's not a bad thing.
And the interest rate changes for what, yeah,
Yeah.
what did we get, what was the interest rate, did you say?
4.05 or 4.5.
A little bit lower than what we
What's our
thought,
profit?
but still, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be around $500.
for just letting it sit there in the bank.
I think that's the right thing to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I think so
Let's
too.
Maybe at the December board meeting, decide if we want to, or if we're capable
Yeah,
of having enough cash flow to.
It was Bozeman people.
That's up 2
It was Bozeman people.
What did we do?
It was Bozeman people. It's for,
At the city of Bozeman?
well, I don't know if it's a city of Bozeman.
Well, those are what?
It was for $50 renewals. Hold on.
I thought we did ours as a group.
Gallatin County.
I mean, that.
Oh,
makes-
don't even,
makes-
Michael Stone gave his notice on
No, that's who
Friday.
it's from.
Notice.
That's who it's from. That's 2 payments from him.
From Michael Stone?
Mhm.
Huh, well, he just gave his notice, so dang.
Well, that's
Well, as long as
interesting.
he's staying with
So-
Megan.
That's what I heard.
That's what's on the worst one.
$50 individual membership because you're an.
Because he has his, because he got a membership before he left this Gallatin County. So just so that everybody's on the same page, Michael Stone was the GIS manager in Gallatin County. They moved his position from under planning to 911. And then as soon as they did that, like I got an email from him Friday that he gave his 2-week notice. So they literally don't have a GIS department. They have some people in clerk and recorder's office, but it's a just don't even want, thank you. Yep. So I was talking to Jenny yesterday and I said, are they getting our addresses? Because she just created like 700 new addresses in the last week. And she's like, I don't know. And I said, well, will you reach out to your friends at 911 and make sure that they're getting them? Because we have a script that runs that grabs it. Supposedly, what's that?
I said this is being recorded, so.
Oh, sorry. Be nice. Anyway, done. I'm done.
Well, I just don't understand why, I guess I
Thank
don't
you.
get it.
Just omit that kind of thing.
I was so invested.
Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. Sadly, yeah. They don't care. Thank you.
Anyway, I don't know why he paid twice on the 10th for an individual membership. Two separate transactions, same credit card.
We appreciate
That's
his.
Oh, that's interesting.
We
Okay.
appreciate his,
I guess we could reach out to 911 department and find out if they know that they are members to Mega now.
I know, because that's the other thing. It's like that's.
Do they
like,
have
not
names?
Realize? Well, Michael Stone made the payment and they're just both under his name for him.
Maybe he doesn't realize that both of them went through.
Oh, Tony Terrera,
Okay,
you know that person?
I don't.
Okay, I'll get you this.
yeah, let's
information.
deal with this later outside of the thing here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
that's what it is. That's what the 200 is. It's
Interesting
individual.
pose,
So we-
people. Gallatin County.
But why they are registering so late? It's them.
Well, I'm just, yeah, we can talk about that later. That's a side thing.
We're gonna make $500 though, so right?
Yeah, there we
But
go.
it brings us an interesting kind of point.
Yeah, I'll need you to talk me through that again.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Nate.
Sorry, Nate.
No, that's pretty much all I have.
What else do we have? Treasures, scholarships, membership.
Yeah, kind of business as usual. Alicia gave her update on membership development and I've been thinking of different ways that we could maybe try and grow our base and maybe like reaching out to non-GIS users that might be interested in GIS as a growing technology, or maybe county planning boards or NACO or other organizations that might want to learn a little bit more about GIS and trying to engage them and invite them to a conference. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that or if it's been attempted in the past.
As far as I know, we're still continuing with the NACO thing. I mean, alternating, although I haven't heard when their conference is. I believe it's February.
Or a League of Cities and Towns.
Yeah, beyond that, I don't know what we plan on doing. Going to them or contacting them, see if we can get a booth or something so we can, I'm just thinking about their conferences and trying to get a booth or something like that to advertise themselves,
Yeah,
would be fine and stuff, but I mean, we don't, do we budget for that kind of thing? I mean, that takes people to go there, sit at the booth and.
Yeah.
I think the League of Cities and Towns or NACO is in Missoula every year, isn't it?
Is it every year? Don't they move it around? I'm
Not
not
sure.
sure, right? I think I swore Macon goes to Billings sometimes too.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know, but. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously something that we could. I mean, I'm all for promoting ourselves at these separate conferences like NAPS or whatever the
Yeah.
other ones are, Mako and Marls, that's the one I was talking about. But again, we're gonna have to, I mean, I did that on my own budget last year. And, you know, it's just, I mean, we gotta start putting that in the budget. So that we can have people there. I mean, Aaron did it because he was in Great Falls when we did the Marvel one, so it was great for him to stop by and man the booth with us.
So if they have technical sessions at their conferences, is that something that we could volunteer to put on, intro to ArcGIS Online or something to?
That wouldn't be, yeah, but I don't think that's something that maybe Magip can sponsor that. That's not a big. That's a.
I'd just be careful with that a little bit, because, you know, that's easily $500 to $1,000 on our part, to spend that money. Right, per diem for a person, and a hotel room, travel.
I mean, I got no problem with
That kind of
doing it,
stuff.
but
You
you
have
have
to
to
recuperate the cost and the cost of the course.
Oh, if they want it.
Oh,
If
like a
they
workshop.
want it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's demand for it and somebody on our end could supply it, I'd say, okay.
Yeah,
But like, for us to spend money to go to other conferences to promote ourselves, I don't think there's much return on the investment there.
I mean, there could be, I mean, there was a lot of communication with Morals. I mean, they were at our booth, we were constantly talking, which is great. You know, and that's what you're gonna get out of it. I mean, you're probably not gonna get more fun or more membership out of it. You might get one or two.
I talked to the county planner at Broadwater County. She was in intro to our GIS online class, and she knew nothing about GIS and was trying to learn. And how many other county planners that also have 5 other roles are just now learning about what GIS can provide for their organization or their
that's
county.
as much as I like those classes, that's an Esri class. I mean, that's not a mega, I mean, it's not really mega, I mean, we can say, hey, you know, we should have Esri be doing that.
Esri won't be able to provide the
I know. I
state
understand.
library or all the GIS resources that we can provide for the state of Montana.
I understand that too, yeah, I mean, there's.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
And put it out there. I'd say put it out there, and if you get a response that says, heck yeah, I would like that, then we can talk about how to make that happen,
right,
right? Because it might be a member, you know, with an educational or entrepreneurial angle, and they want to go put on a class.
Yeah.
We can support it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, I don't wanna be a down buzz or a buzzkill on this thing, I mean, I'm all for it, I just wanna bring up the other aspects of it, that this stuff takes. I mean, we either guys are budgeting it, you know, so we need people out there to do conferences, we wanna do the class thing, if we can figure out some other ways of avoiding that, you know, like if we present a class and you get a free, whatever the hell, you know, whatever, that's wonderful, great.
Yeah.
So, you know, however we can, but like Rob said, you know, put a question on it, you get something started, you know, conversation.
And then, you know, at worst case scenario, you can say, you're welcome to come to our conference when we have these workshops,
Right.
right? Like,
I mean-
okay, maybe we can't come to yours, but if you have an interest, you can come to ours.
Yeah.
Well, it could be as simple as like the training you wanna do before the mapathon. For all the
Yeah.
geography teachers, you could take that training and provide it at different places too. I think can be a cut and copy
Yeah, I think you
introduction.
do a recording and then say, you know, again, you're not coming empty-handed, you're offering something.
Mhm.
That's twice you brought up Marathon, I'm gonna be ignorant here, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
GIS Day.
Huh?
Were you at the last meeting?
Which, that's the July one?
He was drunk.
Oh, you were, I think you were on vacation.
Huh?
I think you were on vacation.
July.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, we were-
Oh, we were just talking about GIS Day. I'll tell you more about it when it's my turn.
Okay.
By the way, the Marls conference is March 20th to 22nd. At Copper King Hotel and Convention Center in Butte, Montana. Is that where it's always at, is in Butte?
No,
Oh, was it Great Falls last
it
year?
was in Great Falls last year, this year.
And how?
No,
many
they
people
rotated between
attended?
2 or 3 places.
I think it's similar to our.
So similar
conference.
to our conference. So I just am trying to track the significance of us being involved with Marls. Like, I mean, like, I can totally see professionally wanting to make sure that we have established relationships in the land surveyors, the registered land surveyors community. So that would be important to me, but I just, am I missing, are there other reasons that we thought it was significant? I'm like, clearly we've sent people there, so.
It was a cross-pollination thing, trying to attract people from both realms to our conferences, so,
And try to lessen the flow between surveyors and GIS.
Yeah.
And did they approach us too? I feel like,
Yeah, yes.
I feel like they reached out to us too, Gail, and asked, kind of said, can we have a table at your conference? And
Yeah, and then you can have a table at ours and we can keep it open.
free conference.
Yeah, cause I mean, there's some states that have really contentious relationships
Absolutely.
with their land surveyors. There was a big lawsuit, I think it was in Florida. Was the last one that Esri was watching. There was a really significant, and it could impact me. So, I do see that Aaron Fashaway's name is on their website for Montana Geodetic Resources, which is interesting. I think there are probably some classes here that would be worth.
Well, that's because we're doing the town, that was the legislation that we passed this past year.
Okay.
With all the top, with, not the towers, that's not very important. With all
Oh, the
Station?
base stations,
Yeah,
okay, there's
base
the
stations.
network, yeah.
Yeah,
the art
okay.
scan.
Yeah. Cool. I could make an argument for making sure that we have somebody attending that. I mean, I even at the expense of Magip, I think it would be important to have somebody that knows somebody on their board that's keeping that line of communication open.
I think it's an important bridge to maintain.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that necessarily conference attendance is the key to that relationship.
Yeah.
But we do need to have a relationship, and I think it became relevant this year
yeah,
where we supported that bill,
yeah.
which was largely kind of sprung out of that community, not ours.
Okay,
Right.
okay, interesting, thank you.
And there'll be future ones, right? In 2025 or so, we're gonna change our datum,
Yeah,
and that's gonna affect things. So it's good to stay in touch, I think we can stay in touch without expending a lot of resources, but it doesn't hurt.
to attend the conferences. Was that something that you attended, Michelle? Who was part of that?
No, I was
It was-
one of the, me and,
Jeff Hedstrom.
Oh, Jeff Hedstrom,
Jeff,
okay.
well, the state library was also there.
Oh, right,
So,
which is right
Jeff-
there.
Yeah, so Jeff was there for a different capacity. I was there representing Magip, and then Aaron also,
Okay.
because he was in Great Falls, he represented us to her, he helped man the
Aaron.
Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Oh, Vaughn,
Vaughn,
thank you. Because I had Aaron Fashway and I'm like.
No,
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
The past secretary.
Yep, I knew who Aaron is. He knows me. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the conversation.
So, yeah, my 2 cents is they reached out to us to reestablish a relationship that had kind of gotten, we kind of, maybe weren't at loggerheads, but weren't in a great relationship, and they wanted to improve that. And I think we need to continue to try to do that. They wanted for us to have a presence at their conference.
Okay,
And if we can do that, I think we should,
okay.
but that's just my personal opinion.
I think that's a great idea.
So, and to your point, Mike, this is what we're all about, is taking care of membership and trying to add new members. And so trying to figure out ways to do that. Those are good ideas. So, but capacity is always an issue that we have to deal with. Do we have the capacity to do that stuff? And so, I'm always struggling to find time, I guess.
Yeah,
So, to do that outreach, but going back to the conversation that we had with Esri and we had with Riyadh,
Riot.
there's a huge need in the state of Montana at the county level to get people to understand how to use ArcGIS Online and to move from Arc Reader and just start using GIS out there and take advantage of the, whatever it's called now, the MLIAC or the MLIA money that's out there. That a lot of money's been spent, but a lot of that data is now old and stale, and you know, you have had a decent amount of turnover in those offices, and so there are new people with new ideas and probably need a lot of help when it comes to GIS. So
Yeah, I'd imagine there's always gonna be new people.
yeah.
That probably don't have a GIS education or background whatsoever, that will need training.
And I think what the board has said on that is that's kind of Esri's market anyway, to go out there and try to keep those clients or establish new clients, and we will support them in any way that we can to get educational resources out there to them. So
Sorry, technical sessions came to my mind, and I just sent an email to Aaron Fashway and Ryad and Jan yesterday, and we're gonna be meeting like sometime in October.
okay.
Yeah, so we'll have something before the other day, hopefully. About how to move forward with that. Super cool, yeah. I have one other comment about that before we move off the conversation about Marls and being included in that. I feel like if this is something that we're going to continue as a board, that we should have some kind of protocol about who represents the board. And I don't care if that's like at every planning session, one person is designated to go, or it's always the person that's trying to build membership or whatever. I mean, like, I just feel like leaving it open, like somebody should attend, means it'll get dropped.
Yeah,
Okay, is that already done?
well, no, yes and no. What I said last year was, and it's a personal thing, and we never passed it by the board, I never put anything in writing. My feeling is if we do continue something like this, I do feel that the current president should be one person that should be going to that. And then maybe a second person that's really close to, happens to be in the area. I mean, like Aaron Vaughn was right there, so that worked out really nice, you know.
Okay.
Butte, and we don't have any representation from Butte, but I mean, we're pretty close, a lot of people pretty close, they may be able to do something there. That was my thought process there, I didn't put anything in writing. I personally feel like the president should be there to represent. Now, for this year, already Jeff's wanted me to go again in his stead,
Okay,
because he didn't think he was gonna get off. And that's fine, you know, he made the decision,
Yep.
asked me to do it, and I got no problem with that.
so is that something that we can more formalize a little bit more?
I think we
and
just need
then,
a
yeah.
line item in the budget for this.
Okay,
And or put something in writing, like you're saying.
Yeah,
that,
just
hey,
like
hey, the president.
and or a designate
Yeah, I
of the
was saying
president.
president's
Yeah,
designate.
yep. I just feel like that just makes it more formal and everybody knows, yep, everybody's signed on to it. We're gonna send a representative. This is what that representative looks like. And to your point, it's in the budget.
Yeah, and I don't think this is like a bylaws or constitutional
No.
decision that we're talking about. It's policy.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where our policy is stored at, to be honest with you.
I'm working on that on the
Okay.
website. That's something that's gonna be on the website there.
So
I volunteer to go,
yeah,
starting to work with some surveyors.
member development also feels like a really good fit
Mhm, yeah.
for that.
I could go down for the day and drive back.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, I think I like the idea of the president or someone the president designates.
Mhm.
Uh,
I like that too.
in this particular case, the membership development coordinator, would be a good fit too,
Mhm,
but maybe not all the time.
right.
That kind of depends on the personality and their personal interests
Yep.
and things of that nature. So that's a nice tiered system, right?
Completely agree.
Is it gonna be one or two people?
It could be one, but you know, one person is down only once in a while, maybe you'd like to take a class, you know, so maybe I always think two would probably be best if we can manage two.
Yeah.
But if we have to do one, then we have to do one that year. I mean, it was nice.
It might
that Karen
depend
was
on the
there.
organization.
I was gonna say, maybe if there's a board member that lives in that location. that-
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what
absolutely,
we
and
were
that's exactly what
thinking
happened with Aaron Vaughn. You know,
Yeah.
he was there, so he was able to help out a lot because he just happened to be in the same town.
Does this like include like a table that we're gonna have a table?
Yep.
Okay.
They usually, the conference will supply a table and then we have a like banner.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Under,
gonna
we have a banner
And
and
they
stuff. And we
swag.
have a lot of swag and stuff. We have some swag already. That's all basically is, and I brought a laptop that we just put the website out there. We'll look at it.
Do we want to try to present at that conference, or is that too much?
What will we present? That would be my question. I mean, I know the state library presents, but they have things that they can present.
Yeah, I don't know the microphone.
Well, for me, I'd go to the class because I have no idea what we're talking about.
All right, Mike, or do we want to continue to have that discussion, or Mike, do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Just looks like they don't-
That's a great conversation.
Yes.
So,
Is that what you're talking about?
all right. Next is conference committee. I don't see Eric here, so, Mike, Powell, Michelle and me,
Yeah, okay.
you mind if we talk about, where we're at with Big Sky Geocon?
Oh, sure. Oh,
What we did
oh, did
yesterday.
you? Oh. you
So
want us
Eric,
to-
yeah, Eric's
Did
not
you want
here.
Tessa to do her thing? For technical committee?
Oh, we can have, technical committee's fine.
I don't have too much, I think
Yeah, I don't-
most of what we're doing this
You don't have
today
to-
and tomorrow is where we're kind of gonna launch off of,
Okay.
but, I think it was Michelle, did you send out a thing for new, building up that? Or-
I sent out an email to see who still wanted to be participate on the planning committee, but not specific to the technical committee.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. But you could pull from that list. And I don't know, I wasn't real involved in I've not been involved in the technical committee at all.
Jason was,
He was,
he was pretty on top of it.
So I don't
I
know.
would continue communication with him for sure.
so I don't know who all was on his, committee.
Okay, gotcha.
I always thought it was kind of just him, but was there other people?
Yeah,
didn't write it
and
down.
during the workshop, or during this work session. we'll
I
have
thought I
a
had
little
John
workshop
just the
session,
yellow.
like special studies, so people may
Get it under my
just sit in here and just start getting some ideas. Hey, what do you want to see at the conference? What kind of ideas do you have?
Yeah.
This is where you get some ideas and stuff. If you want to have somebody help you out with it, join with that. Great.
All right, I feel like what's the, because I know we had some feedback that there needed to be more tribal content, and what's the guy's name?
Wally.
Ken Bixby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, he might be a great person just to help offer that
Yep.
perspective on that technical side.
And Jason had a core of like 3 or 4 people that helped him with that, I thought.
Did he?
Megan Burns.
Tessa, I'll help you find out who it is. And it'd be great to loop maybe Ken in and see if he's interested.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
Plugging in a
Yeah.
little bit, so.
You know, one topic, and maybe just throw it out here right now that I've been feeling a lot of interest in is experience building.
We had one of those last
Yes.
year, didn't we?
I believe so.
Yeah, Kara
I think it-
Utter taught one and then,
Okay.
Was it a workshop or was it
I
a,
think it was a workshop,
I think it was a workshop.
and I think it needs to be set up as a workshop.
yeah. for
So,
sure.
it sounds like David House is on, well, maybe, I haven't talked to him yet, but he's probably gonna be back for this year.
Yeah, according to
He-
Jason, he was like, yes, I'm coming.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
I feel like he emailed me and let me know that he's planning. So,
Excellent.
yes.
And then, who's there's a handful of people, and I need to reach out to Keith Weber, and 'cause I think that would be an awesome workshop,
Yeah, he's awesome.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
So, and Jessica Mitchell, is that right? Jennifer Mitchell, Jessica?
It's Jessica,
Mitchell from
yeah.
the University
But
of
I'd say,
Oh.
him,
Keith.
Keith Weber, he's very engaging.
Yeah,
You know,
I've taken some.
he's a good guy,
It's awesome.
yeah.
He's awesome. And then since we're talking about it right now, I was also thinking about doing, I'm not quite sure how this would look, but incorporating like ADA.
Thank you,
stuff
Tessa.
and
Yeah.
Oh,
They give-
okay, wait a minute, what's the?
Oh, gosh.
ADA compliance, so, at the city of Bozeman, we're required to be ADA compliant with our web pages as well as our PDF documents or any documents that we put
It's
up
color
online.
blindness stuff, right?
Yeah, but
Just
also
like-
being able to tab through. So Tessa's actually taken some ADA compliance courses and has some software on her desktop now that allows her to test the sites for ADA compliance, which I think would be super to make sure that
Yeah.
our website is ADA compliant. And are you thinking about teaching a class
No.
on?
I mean,
Cole could.
it'd be, yeah, exactly. I was
But
like,
still,
it'd be
be
nice
awesome.
to get somebody who like has a background in that kind of stuff and then is
Mhm.
able to like,
Cole would probably love it if you invited him.
yeah.
Would that
I'm
be-
like, whatever you can do to,
Workshop, or like a tech session.
Yeah.
I think it's a tech
Yeah.
session.
Tech session.
It's a tech session for sure. I mean, it's probably not a very long one, but he actually came to our GIS asset management team meeting and spent just a half an hour really quickly going through some of the things that Tessa needs to be prepared for as she moves into the hub sites and the dashboards. And she's also going to be one of the web editors for our team. So making sure that we stay ADA compliant, and we struggle with maps. Maps are just really hard, but we had some tips. There was actually Kesley, our analyst, has a really cool site that helps you to build color palettes,
Yeah.
and then
I
you
was
can
gonna
custom
say,
for,
the color, if you
Yep.
incorporate something like color brewer in there,
yeah.
you know, then it's kind of full package.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So there's a couple of tools, but specifically for the ADA compliance, it's being able to make sure that your headers are right, that you have the right amount of contrast, that if a person has, as they're tabbing, there's a certain way that you can tab through the head. Yeah, Tessa knows more than I do.
It's like, we're required to do that 508 compliance, right?
Yeah, I think ours is, it's different. It's a little bit higher than that.
Yeah.
So,
And, yeah, like using styles and words.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, instead of folding.
font sizes and
But-
that kind of stuff.
Throw that
that's
out
good
there.
stuff.
Yeah,
And then the
Well,
other
it's-
one I was thinking about was like PC computer hardware.
Mm,
Well, I shouldn't say nobody, but I think that's something that is kind of, can be overlooked sometimes. So
yeah, and one of the
I
things
don't know if
that,
that's,
no, I think that totally. So, at the city of Bozeman last year, our focus was upgrading all of our servers and, also our systems, right? So the servers, the hardware had to be updated before we could update our applications, and it was a really big deal. And we've talked, actually, Jeff and I talked about when we invite vendors, that those vendors, and somebody else mentioned it too, that sometimes it would be good at our conferences to have vendors outside of GIS, not Esri. And one of those could be Microsoft,
Dell.
server, Dell, yep. We actually have Tessa's machine is custom built. Everybody in GIS has custom built machines, and I know that we're very blessed to be able to have that, but it's a special, like, robust to be able to get the work done that they need to do. And it'd be super cool. Like, I'm not the person that did that. Zach actually did a lot of research to make sure that we were technically up where we needed to be. So I could totally see that as something of importance.
yeah, I'm not quite sure how that would look or who you would bring in for that kind of stuff, but
I don't know, maybe somebody from IT from MSU or something.
yeah.
Oh.
Build computers, a workshop.
Yeah. Tessa,
Maybe not.
maybe you could build us a computer.
The other thing that was very valuable to us, I don't know if it was valuable to the state, but the Carrie Harapat, our engineer, workshop on City Works.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And, yeah.
What's her last name?
Harapat, I think. Does that sound right?
It is. It's HARAPAT.
I actually don't know her. That's a coworker or colleague of Zach's.
Cool. Anyway, so I think after today and tomorrow, I'll have more to report on, but right now it's just kind of like getting this.
I have another comment about the, that asset management, before we move on, if you don't mind. So when we've been talking about these technical sessions, and I realize that now it's all very high conversations, but some of the deeper conversations that I've had with people that have worked on these technical sessions before, and like what the state, like where Aaron thinks these technical sessions need to go, where Zach, who's my colleague, he's my we work laterally in GIS, he's asset management. It seems pretty clear that when we're going to those smaller communities, that asset management should be the focus. And I will tell you that, like, we get calls from all over Montana, people reaching out to us like, what are you doing with this? And what are you doing with that? And what about this? And I would say that 75% of those calls are specifically about asset management. So if we can increase the number of asset management trainings, I think that would be huge. Because that's what we're always getting questions about.
You mean like
City Works.
managing enterprise system or?
So we have CityWorks that lives with our enterprise system. But what we've talked about, especially when we're talking about the technical sessions, is more collecting data and hosting data in ArcGIS Online.
So it's like.
And what kind of,
It's things like governance, data standardization.
Yep.
Failure coding, inventory management.
yeah. Huge.
So data, you're talking like data as an asset.
Well, data is an asset, but actually assets like at the city. So like the smaller communities, it sounds like in like the 2010, 2013 period, there was a big push from the state with funds from MLEAC to collect data. And then that data is now currently being held in systems that are out of date. And they're not being, the smaller communities don't know how to do anything with the data. And so I think collection, so, being able to learn how to collect data and collect accurate data, to Jeff's point, the schema of the data, that kind of thing.
Purpose.
Yeah, like why would you collect it if you don't need it, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's cool.
So, yeah.
So Tessa, I just looked through my correspondence, so.
Yeah, I can just walk you up as a second. That would be nice.
Let's see what's in the office.
Yeah, I don't feel like driving. I can certainly do it though.
Oh.
Coordinate.
I wanna go, maybe we can make a trip of it. I've never been to Billings, so, yeah,
Oh.
it would be a first for me.
The Magic City.
It's actually really helpful to see the space too.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, I agree.
What was that go?
Yeah, we are back up. It said, there was part of it that was not recorded, so, are we good on technical? All right, let's move into, the conference committee. Eric's not here, but yesterday we met with Eric, Michelle, Mike Powell and I met with Eric at the Northern and toured the site again. Michelle, you want to talk a little bit about what we saw and where we're at with the planning? You already were talking about that already.
Yeah, we obviously need to get a planning meeting on the calendar soon, just to have those initial discussions. It's never too early to start. We took a look at the space again, and we basically have almost all the space contracted, so we can be creative with the space however we want, but we got some general ideas when we were there, for Monday and Tuesday. There's 4 great rooms for workshops. We do have a 5th space available if we wanted to offer a 5th workshop. We were thinking the boardroom, right? So there's a smaller boardroom, and when I say smaller, I think it would hold at least 25 people, but it's a big board table
Like
like this. And it can't be moved, so it would have to stay in that set, so whatever workshop might fit that. Or we have like a big general session room that could double as a workshop room. And then it's just kind of 4 square rooms kind of lined up next to each other, so just know that there's the option to have 4 or 5. And then the concurrent sessions would run in those 4 rooms next to each other, and then we'll have a dedicated room for the vendors.
Oh, yeah.
Or email?
Um,
I'm just wondering if you had her email that you can bring it up.
Did you email it to us?
I don't know if I did.
I don't think I've seen that.
It printed out.
Printed this.
Oh, yeah, maybe I did. Anyway, and
I will look at.
they basically have 2, like a south ballroom and a north ballroom. And so there's not a lot of, it's not like the Grand Two where there's big open like lobby space. And so we'll use one of the ballrooms to put the vendors in. They said it can hold 25.
Okay.
But we also are gonna have to open up the wall between the 2 ballrooms to accommodate getting everybody in for lunches and stuff.
Okay,
So we'll kind of have to bleed over into that second ballroom, so that might cut down on the amount of vendor tables, which I don't think is gonna be an issue. We could also put vendors out in the hallway if we needed to.
Yeah.
how many vendors did we have last year?
21,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's nice,
yeah,
Yeah, that was a lot.
yeah.
That was most, I think, we've had a while.
it was, yeah.
So I would just expect that, maybe a little less.
And the space is definitely not. I mean, you can see it from that floor plan, it's kind of one big square, it's not as spread out as the Grand Tree, so we're all just. Yeah, we're all just gonna kind of be in one general area. And then I know Mike had some ideas for, like, maybe possibly doing a reception offsite, or just kind of just getting out of that. So that Mike and some local people are looking at other options for maybe going to some other places within walking distance.
Yep.
Is it downtown?
Yes,
Okay,
so that's one thing I would like to promote heavily, is that this conference is downtown, and we should utilize the fact that we are downtown. We have, everything is in walking distance, food, beer, shops, drinking, the museums.
oh,
Last time it was in Billings, we had I wanna say a dessert reception at one of the museums. It was really nice.
nice.
And then we had access to the museum. And then like the Monday meetup, we were at another museum, which is actually closer to the Northern. That was really nice. The guy gave a little spiel on the history of Billings, and we had access to all the, looking at the museum, all the museum pieces and stuff in there. That was real nice.
Yeah, we talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So not that we need to repeat ourselves, but it has been 7 to 8 years. I mean, obviously people like Rob, we know, we remember those things,
Yeah, that was unique.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking,
Well, when you're in an area where you can walk to something like that, it's nice to take advantage of it.
that's what I would like.
So,
Yeah,
Because
there's
we're
a-
right downtown.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
the last
we
couple of
can-
years, we've been so far away from the downtown area that it's been hard to go. I mean, we had to go drive somewhere. There's a map of the northern here, so.
you'll come up either from the elevators or the stairway, or there's even actually from the parking garage across there. Right in here is a main reception area where we'll be able to check everybody in. There's two large ballrooms. This is where we're thinking of having the vendor area at right here, and that here is where we'll have the main, the beginning presentations, the lunches, that type of stuff, your meals. And then, for the sessions and the workshops, all here along, I think it's like Second Street, here on the second floor, there's 4 different rooms. And that's where the majority of your workshops and sessions will be added, is those 4 rooms. They're a little small, they can hold, what, 50 people?
We said it theater style, yeah, but 50 people.
50 people. That's it. We also have this boardroom, this whole executive enterprise suite area that's available to us, that we could have small meetings back in there as well. Then we have these storage spaces, or at least one of those storage spaces available.
So at the conference in Bozeman, how many conference rooms do we have? 5?
Yeah, I mean, we could have 5 at any given time, and then we open them for the concurrent session, so we only had 4.
How many people did those hold?
It just varied depending on what room we were in, so like the bigger ballrooms obviously held way more.
But the smaller ones, I guess I'm just interested in the smaller ones because they were in some cases like standing room only. They were so full. I just am wondering if this is gonna be slightly bigger.
If those rooms, yeah,
Those
those 4
rooms
rooms are
are-
bigger.
They are bigger
Well, they're
than
bigger,
those 2, those?
Yeah.
Okay, they are bigger.
Okay.
Good, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good.
They're
Well,
not near as big as the big rooms that we were in, but
No,
small,
Yeah, but I think it was a like in some of the sessions that we had,
like
the rooms were just packed. Yeah,
Lee's presentation, right?
yeah,
Well, we might have to figure out, I guess we might have to make some guesses on, okay, this session is gonna be popular.
yeah.
We need to do it to, maybe we need to do all of it. Give them the extra one. Or, something like that. I don't know how we're gonna figure that out or, predict the future.
Yeah.
well, and the other thing too is if we set it up in theater style seating, you can get more people in those rooms, and the grand tree we had tables. So if those rooms would have been set up just to cheer, we could have.
That's true.
Limited standing. So
Oh, yeah. But even the ones that were set up in theater, they were full. It was,
we didn't have any in just theaters, they all had, we had some that were half.
oh, that was a half theater one that for Lee's. That
Yeah.
was the half theater one.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's why when we were in Bozeman, we were like, well, these rooms are bigger than those 2 you're thinking of.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of the same size, which is nice. They're all uniformly the same size, so they'll each hold 50 people.
Is there a way that we could, sorry, I just am thinking of other conferences that I've been to, like we've had like standing round tables at the back. So that if you have people that are like, it's so hard for me to sit for an hour. Would that still allow for,
It would reduce the number we could get in there. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do that, but you wouldn't be able to.
yeah,
But that's not a bad idea for that. We've done that for general sessions before, had different types of seating. We could
Yeah.
Do that in the general session, maybe. But we also have to double that room for our meal room for lunches.
so you
too.
have to move it.
So we don't want to have to do a lot of resetting. Or we don't want the hotel to, so.
So I've got 3 people probably from City of Billings that will be available to task to do things. Michelle Meadens is our land management coordinator. She's in the GS team. She said she'd run point on getting like donations from vendors and stuff like that. So she'd be willing to do that. And then my boss has offered a couple of the staff from the IT department to run errands, do that type of stuff for prep work.
Great.
So
Yeah, I think we're pretty well set. Any volunteer. Gotta get started.
And when we get into our actual conference kind of meetings, we obviously did go through this
Yeah.
stuff.
But anyway, the Northern was very accommodating. It got a lot of concessions
Mhm.
available to us, they.
Free parking.
Free parking.
Valet parking.
Valet parking, but it's all free parking, there's parking garages and stuff. And out there, that's the access to south end there. It. It does sound wonderful, and the fact that it was within budget and stuff, it's all gonna be the government rate is 109. That we're gonna be locked at, so.
Is that
It's pretty reasonable.
I think it's the prevailing government rate, it's currently 109, so
Okay.
if it changes, it would be by a couple dollars.
Right. So that's a lot better than both.
And there's a like a really nice restaurant and bar in it, and then there's also like
a
the
diner attached to it, but again, you're downtown, there is the options are galore for what you wanna eat.
Breweries.
I'm curious if they have room service.
Yes.
I know that sounds really weird, but when I was down at
Well,
the
that
UC,
is a little far.
they had-
It is.
they had room service,
Not bad.
but the room service was you ordered it and then had to go down to the restaurant to pick it up.
Huh.
Which is I think it was partly just COVID and
I
they
would
just
say that
haven't
might have been a
recovered it.
COVID thing, yeah.
Yeah, they just haven't recovered from it yet, but this was this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I called the front desk. I'm like, seriously? Okay.
Maybe it's shortage of staff.
Maybe. Well, and that's part of COVID too, right? So,
Yeah.
okay.
It just, who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like a nice accommodation.
It's very nice.
You know, I think we're gonna do real well here.
Is there anything that we can do to encourage attendance because it's in Billings? Because I just have heard from other people that having it in Billings is that like the furthest big city from
From what?
The center of the state.
Oh, yeah.
from everybody else? No.
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly. I
kidding.
wanna hear it from you Westerners.
You can say that about.
Well,
Close to you.
I mean, we're gonna be contacting MSUP.
Oh, that's what I was just gonna ask you if you guys had a, yeah, okay.
We have two colleges in town.
Okay.
MSU to have a GIS, I think they merged it, their earth sciences curriculum. Because
ID or something like that.
Run out of teachers.
Oh.
I believe Rocky still has teachers or GIS programs, we're definitely gonna reach out to them. We do have a couple reservations that are pretty close to the whole Indian, with, yes, Ken and Wally, or I think. Wally.
VIA's there too.
VIA, I feel we're gonna get a good showing from them this year.
Oh,
because
yeah,
we're
because you're
close.
pretty close.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's good.
You have a really strong engineering and consultant community there too that have GIS specialists.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be reaching out, but I feel like we may not get the students like Bozeman has, but I think we're gonna be in good shape.
Alan Armstrong.
Yes, he's in BLM.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, pretty much the BLM.
Absolutely.
And, you know, maybe we could ask, you know, Ken wants more tribal stuff. All right, Ken, want a tribal session or a tribal track?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Ken in Billings.
No, he's
Oh.
in,
Out there,
I think he's like in Ronan or something.
Oh, he's like, really?
I would be interested in that, in that tribal track. So, it's
Yeah,
my
but
heart sensitive.
I think Wally is closer to us. I don't know what his.
No, Walmart's up in
Is he?
Yeah.
I just swore he's down by us.
That's,
That's Gladstone, is that?
Wally Gladstone.
But he's more than willing to, he was happy of coming to be in Billings, so,
Okay,
yeah, I think the turnout's gonna be good on those aspects.
yeah,
There.
okay.
I think we'll be doing all right.
If you want, if you have an interest in tribal stuff, you have to be all over it. Yeah, I mean, you have to talk to them now and
Yeah.
next week and the week after.
Okay, okay.
Gotta remind them
Interesting.
I'm gonna be
constantly, and because the communication with them is hard.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
I'm gonna be
So-
broken, but the archaeology community is fairly nice.
Well,
Or at least- Yeah, and so,
Yeah, I think one of them was fixed.
and I know there's a ton of archaeology folks in Billings, like Timber Maniac, the photographic guy.
Well, that's his office right there. Address of his entry.
What was the name of the guy that spoke last
Well,
year?
that's perfect.
Yeah, so hopefully, I know.
Say it again?
Shane Hope.
Oh, Shane Doyle. Shane Doyle.
Wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Sorry.
as part of our sensitive lands initiative, we have a land acknowledgement. And, have been reaching out to the tribal communities, and we're trying to build that relationship, and, there's some interesting mapping issues that comes with their, especially their archaeological locations, and so want to be really sensitive to that, but I would love to hear what they have to say. I mean, that would be a really fascinating track, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Ken's our guy.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
And that's about all I got for the northern. I mean, I think we selected well. I mean, I don't know if you remember, I mean, obviously you do, but when we were at the Sheridan the last time, when we had different layers, so there's some. Yeah, that kind of, I definitely brought that up when we were comparing the two this year, or 2 years ago, or whatever, when we were looking at it, like, look, I don't want these two layers. I mean, people were getting confused on where things were, and, you know, it's like, in this, and the first time, when we compared the two, the northern was just remodeled. And the prices were way higher than Sheraton. That's why we went with Sheraton. This time, they were pretty comparable, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
they
So
were.
we were like, what does this?
Are they both attached to the same parking lot?
No,
No.
different part.
And the Northern's being very generous, like, they're,
Yes.
like, and when we asked about, like, if we do need hardwire internet or whatever, it's super cheap.
Yeah.
They have all good AV equipment that's built into each room.
And the rooms are small enough, even though they're larger than what they were, that you don't really need a microphone. I mean, some people are soft, so maybe so, but I mean, in general, I mean, just if you speak up a little bit, I mean, you will fill the room. You know, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I think it's really good there.
And
What
there's
is
gonna be
the
a,
date?
oh, sorry,
No, sorry.
I'm saying there's gonna be an awesome trivia night.
Yeah.
That's what'll get people there, Gail.
No,
I have-
it's the pub.
You don't want me on your team. Now the pub crawl, you know, you
It's gonna be the pub crawl.
So in the pub crawl, are we getting like cards and building like yeah, I can do that.
The pub crawl.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
It's April 15th to me.
Thank you, because the dates are slightly different. Is that
And
right?
they're a little later because we wanted to get it away from Easter, which happens to be the first weekend of April.
So April 8th,
15th,
oh, April 15th to the 18th.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
But you would want, as a board, you would want to come on Sunday.
Yes, we discussed this, we were,
Okay,
and I don't, not that I am the president anymore, but I think we're talking a lot here. There was no, by any means, making an agreement on this.
Mhm.
Thought it'd be a good idea that the board members be there Sunday night.
yeah, we can do
We
that.
can have a dinner, you know, that way we can have our board meeting / dinner. We were thinking it would be a good idea to do that before the conference. That way we'd have our board meeting done, because that happens to be falling right around that time anyway. And, and we can all get have a dinner together. And they have a wonderful restaurant downstairs. We get our own room and it looks just like this, really. And we all sit there and,
Called Penn.
yeah, it's good.
Nice.
I personally thought when somebody brought that up, I can't give credit to whoever it was, I can't remember. But whoever brought up the idea of having that dinner, I thought, wow, that's a wonderful idea.
Mhm.
Oh.
And then there's workshops Monday.
Yeah, we work there Monday, Tuesday, and then the rest of the thing Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday.
And then pub crawl on whatever night.
Yeah, whatever, figure out, we're gonna do a pub crawl,
Monday
already
night.
working on that, that's gonna be happening, that's gonna bring everybody.
And we're not gonna do like the yam
We
or
might do a yam,
Okay.
either the yam, yeah, I mean, we got a lot of
Yellowstone Art
options
Museum.
there,
What's the
so.
Yellowstone Art Museum.
Oh, I would love that.
So that's where we had the
Dessert?
dessert
Yes.
thing last time.
That
So,
sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
And one thing we talked about at our wrap-up meeting from the Grand Tree, and as we were looking at Billings, because it is downtown, is allowing people to, on either Wednesday or Thursday, go have lunch on their own
Yeah,
and explore a little bit.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And that impacts our budget, right?
Yes.
It also allows people to get out and shop.
Absolutely.
Like,
Exactly what we're
yeah.
talking. That's what we exactly.
Yeah.
Will Sky Point be redone by then?
I certainly hope so.
Okay.
They took the tarp down, so I
Yeah.
think they.
Okay.
So yeah,
Let's
that's,
go.
that's about all I got for the northern, I mean, anything,
I don't think so.
I think, yeah. it was-
Any ideas for guest speakers?
Not yet.
Oh,
Yeah, Eric was gonna talk to Jan about getting, or, you know, he's trying to get Jack. Trying to get Jack, I would love to get Jack, but if we can't get Jack, maybe there's somebody higher up in that group that we can get, I don't know.
I said Don Wright, but
There's a,
April in Eastern Montana is not a huge draw.
I don't know,
Let's
I mean, I heard
have
Jack
speakers, like-
loves Montana, so I don't know, we'll see, but yeah.
are we gonna talk about that thing that you and we, about the, is that on the schedule?
are you talking about the
Yeah.
geodesign challenge?
Yeah.
Yes, it's coming up.
Okay, so, when we talk about that, the gentleman that hosted the geodesign summit, his name's Ryan Purple. If that's something that people are on board with, Ryan will be an excellent.
Oh, really?
I know his last name is Purple, Perkl, pretty sure his first name's Ryan.
Okay.
Confirm that. He's from Esby, he's
Well,
cool, and he would be, yeah. person.
And what's maybe what did you say, timber something, wild timber?
Wait, what?
No, it was you, the LiDAR that was done at,
Yeah, Timbermania,
and that's out of Billings, huh?
he's in Billings, yeah.
And so that could be a speaker too.
You wanna do, yeah, broken record.
Yeah, no,
There's a ton of archaeologists that use that. That
Oh,
would be a
yeah.
cool one.
I think we got a lot of options, for sure.
Say that, it always sounds like Timber Mania.
Timbermania.
I thought that.
He's been calling me that.
I did too, it's like, what? Is that her name?
Tim Urbani.
Oh.
Tim, I thought you were saying timber maniac.
Maniac did our last one in Billings, and then his brother, he's a guitar player. And we had, and he was playing
Nice.
at the amp, at the surf
Oh
deck.
my
I don't know if you're
I'm saying timber mania.
Tim-
That's what I was saying.
To bring
No, I know what
ingredient,
this is.
yeah. or whatever. Yeah, he talked at our last one.
He's a,
Did he do like the main?
I believe so. It was, we had two guest speakers, I believe he was one of them, and the other one was a military person.
In Billings?
Yeah.
It was
in our-
when the
in
conference
Billings.
was in Billings?
Yeah,
he's an MSUB.
yeah.
I think he's an IT.
And then we had his brother, is a really good guitar player.
Okay.
Plays it.
Who arranged all that stuff?
Janelle.
Okay.
Janelle was a big promoter of that, and Annette. And then, but that was at the time when we didn't have.
Okay.
You know, Michelle, so, yeah, it was everybody all hands on deck kind of thing. It's all organized.
Yeah, he would be super cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been 7 years, so it certainly wouldn't be a problem reintroducing it.
Especially if he's done the LiDAR work for that area that you guys, that's specific to Billings.
Yeah.
I think that would be
no,
really
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
got
that's
no problem with that.
local.
I think I've seen that, or I've seen him present that before. And see what he's thinking.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah, why don't you?
Try for Jack.
Yeah, but in case that snowballs,
Tell Eric, you know,
There's somebody else
that's good.
over there.
So anyway, that's, comp committee.
Yep.
Is that it?
Do we need additional members on that committee, or are we good?
Well,
I think,
always.
I mean, I think we're good. We have quite a few, and then Helen said there's somebody else from her office named Austin that wants to be on the committee. I mean, you guys are always, I mean, with this whole group and these people, it's a lot.
All right, so next thing, I'll just go through Andrew's update from the local government SIG. I've got it. I'll read that to y'all. Maybe.
Yeah, you're here.
So I've been gone for anyway. So,
are you still trying to clean up?
oh, you're talking about yeah, that's all.
Yeah, sure.
Are you talking about unread emails? That's not really unread
No,
emails.
I'm not trying to go through your stuff.
Anyway,
I just see a lot of numbers there and.
yeah. it's the way that I work things that when I put things in folders, it doesn't always show that I've read them, even though I've read them. I just need to clean it up. So, all right, the primary update for this month is the interest survey I sent out last month to get feedback to the group. There have been 16 results so far. I might follow up on the phone to get individuals to participate. Key reflections for me to ponder. How do I foster an environment in the meeting where people are safe to participate? May require individuals follow-up conversations or discussion of future meetings, finding presenters for full topics listed below, highlights for the results, specific questions and related to the SIG. We can chat about other questions at future meetings. The average satisfaction is 4.3 out of 5 stars, so that's fairly good. What meeting content is most appreciated? Listening to comments, questions, and stories from users. Formal presentations, that's 93%. Formal presentations, 80%. Informal discussion, 73%. Why do people attend the SIG meeting? Learn from the experience of others, 100%. Network and building relationships, 80%. Learn GIS best practices, 80%. Share my own projects, 73%. Get help with my projects, 46%. What is working for me? Networking, learning from others, time length of meeting, feeling like it's a shared experience, water cooler chat. What needs to be improved? More people need to participate or talk. That is a big thing for Andrew. Andrew cannot do this by himself. More people need to set up and share projects. Future topics, land use and planning, addressing in 911, Python programming, GIS in the public health departments, how to educate GIS users, ArcGIS Experience Builder, cadastral, SQL queries, navigating office community politics with other GIS projects, public works, parcel fabric, cadastral, GIS and outreach, GIS in public outreach, promoting geospatial strategies, asset management, custom web GIS, keeping up with trends and technologies, keeping up with our ArcGIS technologies, interest in presenting or sharing networks, 10, I don't know what he's saying here, 10 yes responses. Oh, interest in presenting, 10 yes, 5 no. And that is it from Andrew. Any questions, comments, thoughts on Andrew's report?
I would not, I mean, if he's struggling with content slash people talking, I get the fact that, you know, everybody wants to go there to listen, but if nobody's talking, it's sucks. But I don't have a problem with him coming back a little bit. You doing it quarterly. Quarterly would be good. I can maybe come up with a thought. I mean, he has a full list right there. I don't see why he can't just use that list for the full year and then just repeat it the next year. Something like that, because those are always running topics that need to be talked about.
And yeah, I would say that's a great observation. And, you know, these things, they're called special interest groups for a reason, right? They're not, it's not a dedicated thing. Like every couple of years, there's a flavor of the day. You know, something becomes like, oh shit, we gotta learn about this, right? And so then there's emphasis on that. So then maybe
They can wane
there
and
aren't
wax.
any super burning questions right now. There may be next year, right? And so no pressure,
Yeah, and
no pressure to
Oh.
continue these things.
a lot of this was spurred by member feedback saying we really need to have a local government focus. Tommy and Andrew have done a tremendous job in
Absolutely.
putting out tons of content, and maybe that need has waned a little bit, and so it's fine for him to back off, and we just.
Just a little bit. I don't want to lose it though. We definitely don't want to lose it because I do believe that it's very important. Just to keep, it's just an avenue for everybody to start talking. I mean, you have 50 people for your life. You're doing it quarterly, you know, maybe because you're only doing it quarterly, that's just like, everybody's like, oh, okay, we gotta go to this now.
I think Keith Weber was a big reason.
Well, you know, that being said, I mean, it's just, I mean, we're having it every month. There may be a little little wearing on it, get a little drowned out or whatever, so maybe if he slows down a little bit, makes it quarterly or something like that, I think that would be a good idea.
And he needs help.
Well, and that too.
I would say though, along the lines of that local government stuff, Forest Service is transitioning, some of their our cadastral work. And we're trying to move towards a parcel fabric. So we invited Mike Snook from, Missoula
County.
to demonstrate, or Missoula County to demonstrate how they set up theirs, and that was really helpful. So these things have an impact in all kinds of ways.
I think it's still going gangbusters. There's a tremendous amount of interest. We have had some of the champions leave, and Tommy, and then what's the other lady? She was got it- Danny got it, yeah. Danny got to
Yeah,
the
she
job.
moved to the state, so she left Shoto and then moved to the state, so she hasn't been attending, and it's local government SIG. And I would say, so we had a meeting recently with the GIS managers
For
and
municipalities.
yeah, and Aaron Pashaway was able to attend the meeting, and we talked specifically about the local government SIG and whether or not, well, how we could support Andrew, because knowing that Tommy had left, and that was just a huge, and well, I guess going back to the beginning of the year, Tommy Lucia had put out during the local government SIG, if somebody would put together this survey. And so Eric Spangenberg, Nancy Stemple, and I stepped up and said, yep, we'll do it for you. So we put together this survey, and then everything went Tommy just crashed and burned. Everybody kind of knows that story. And then Andrew stepped in. And it still feels like he's kind of trying to like get his, like, figure out his sea legs kind of thing. And Aaron was really concerned that this local government SIG is going to flounder a little bit. So I think the hope is that if there's some way that Magip can support Andrew in keeping that local government SIG going, and maybe if it's every other month or quarterly or whatever.
The local government group is part of Magip. I mean, that is a Magip thing. So
Yeah.
we definitely need to step up if it's or change the thing.
Well,
Like I said, I'd like to keep it.
Yeah, and Aaron, yeah.
and quarterly or whatever, every other month.
Aaron was really concerned that it would flounder and that she didn't want to see that happen. And so I think that if there's some ways that we can come together as the board to offer support, that would be ideal.
I mean, the way I have understood the special interest groups is there's a couple people who have an interest in a specific thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we had an imagery special interest group for a short while.
So a Python one that advertised.
Right, and it was like at a time when we were discussing the NAEP acquisition schedules, things that.
Right.
To do with the imagery. We had a need to talk to each other and figure some stuff out. It wasn't like, you've done a tremendous job with LiDAR SIG, but it's sort of like you're taking on all that work and you're trying to create a program, essentially. And I think that's above and beyond.
Yeah.
Right? It actually should be local government people who have local government issues to discuss.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's, I got no business participating in that, but those who work in that, they do. So it's kind of up to them to discuss.
I feel like this goes back to the tech sessions again. I just feel like it just keeps coming, especially the local government SIG keeps coming back to the tech sessions, the people that are interested in the content.
We should be funneling them towards the technical sessions.
Yeah.
And the technical sessions should be meeting those needs.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think they need to come and they need to step up and they need to say, this is what we need.
Right. It's kind of a chicken and an egg thing here, because I feel like, and this is just my perspective as a person that struggles to understand the local government need, because my role is different than that. And I have one role in a department that has 7 people, right? And then others within the organization. So being the one man that's doing it all is not the role that I play. And I feel like in Montana, we've already identified that it's very rural and that there are some places that could benefit from these tech sections, and the local government SIG is what that would offer. Like, and not necessarily the tech session itself, but the networking part of it, like understanding who the other people are in Montana that are struggling with the same issues, right? Because it sounded like the elections and those boundary issues that had to go with the elections, which it sounds like we may actually end up having to deal with. But when we were having the conversations, we're like, we're city, it's on the county. Well, you guys already know. So, right? So there's that. Anyway, I just, I wish that there was something that we could do, like, to support Andrew, to help him get a little further. Like, if there's work that you're working on that you think would be valuable. One of the other things that we talked about was maybe changing the agenda a little bit to include an update from the Montana State Library. So having Aaron come or somebody in a designee.
But that's not local government.
Well, it is though, because
It's state government.
but the state identifying to the local government what's happening.
Are you eating the pizza?
So you see what I'm saying? Like, so like having Aaron let the local government know what's happening at the state level, because we talk about things like data standards, right? And the data that could potentially, if the local governments are learning to create data, sharing that with Montana State Library. So there's things that happen at the local government. What's that?
Oh, like here's opportunities for funding, here's.
Yeah. Oh,
this
grants.
way.
Absolutely. That was another thing that Aaron talked about was grants.
And then
Yep.
address.
Oh, and addressing. Yep, that was another one. Mhm.
So we're out of time for the board meeting. We're still, like, need to report on the LiDAR SIG to you all, and Gail's got something on GISA. That's pretty much all I think we have left. Is it all right if we horn in on the hot topics discussion and then finish this, take a break for a while, and then come back and see how much we can get done on the hot topics?
You want to take a break right now?
No, get these two things done and then take a break.
That's gonna be 4 o'clock.
I'd like to say a couple things about that. Sure, listen, we're here, like, this is my perspective. Spent $150 on fuel to get here. And, I'll stay late,
Okay,
right? I'll stay as long as you need me to.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
Good.
Right? I would like to say that when we have our board meetings, or in, virtual, we have to keep, bullshit, right? I mean, we all have a job. And you gotta schedule, you got other meetings, you got stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think, it's not
No, it's been that way before.
Traditionally,
It's
we're
been that way
very
for the
soft.
last, yeah.
Mhm.
when it comes to that. I think with getting to our structure, our organization and all that, we need to be efficient when it comes to that.
I agree and disagree with that, because I'll take full blame of past year that every meeting over an hour and a half. Maybe we should change it to an hour and a half.
But I feel even with Jeff and with Mike before, they were long meetings.
Well, yes, there's gonna be structure, but we've got a great conversation, and every time we talk, your report was ungodly long.
Yes.
But it was
But it's a
great.
discussion,
Yeah, exactly right, and that's great.
but we're also here for. I'm not
I know.
defending that.
No, I know
All
what
I'm
you're saying,
saying
and I
is-
was joking about her.
Look, when you have a meeting scheduled for an hour, got other meetings, if half of us have to drop off.
No, I know, that
then-
sucks.
Then it's not a good.
Yeah, no, I completely
Right?
agree. Yeah.
So just to stay on the same page, I'm just thinking
No.
we should try to really keep to that schedule.
And I don't disagree that it shouldn't be more than an hour. We shouldn't be being more than an hour a week. And I think what facilitates us getting it done in an hour is just having a few bullet points that we're gonna address for the reports and not letting the report portion go more than like 5 minutes per person, something like that.
It's the problem, because right, every report, there are little parts that people wanna talk about.
Yeah.
So maybe we have a review report, and then we have discussion. So, I don't, I don't want to get too far down that road, I've been noticing, it's always lagging, I'm always like stressing, like, I gotta go.
So,
You know?
so thoughts from the
We need
rest of
a-
you on this, or is
I
it?
agree. And I guess historically, have we had monthly board meetings? Or have there been quarterly?
It's designed as quarterly.
Yeah, that's what the
Well-
bylaws have.
Well, no,
Minimum
no.
quarterly.
Well, yeah, minimum quarterly in person. What I read.
You're right.
And so we're not like doing meetings like every month or it's done what we need to do quarterly.
Well, that's true too. I mean, it just seems like that recently, and I'm just going off by last year, we needed to talk every time. But you're right. I mean, if there's something that's not up during the slow months, skip that.
I feel like if we're having meetings monthly and we're going along, we clearly have something to
Yes,
talk about.
that's.
So, and it does sound like this is kind of the year of cleanup. And I don't think that having a conversation once a month is over what it should be. But I do respect the time thing, and I have a FOMO thing, like fear of missing out. So if I have to leave early, I'm like, what I miss, right? So that's also like, we need the people in the room. Would it be,
So I'm
un-
getting at it, half
yeah.
the people have to drop off, and you can't really fit.
Yeah,
would
right.
it be unreasonable to ask that it's an hour and a half? Is that too much time to commit?
Whatever it is.
Okay, so what you're saying is like, set the
We
schedule and
stick to it.
stick to the schedule. Okay,
I
got it.
mean,
Yeah, I respect that.
And yeah, we had a lot of cleanup issues.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah, no, some of that was
membership
just
thing,
joking and
all
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy the conversation. That's the big thing for me. I mean, I think everybody needs to talk. It just gets, and more things come out then, and then obviously then we start spawning off the other things, and we get off on tangents and stuff.
that's
And yes,
also,
that's absolutely, we probably need to rustle that in a little bit.
yeah, but that's also overwhelming too, because if you go back through the minutes and try to close the loop on everything that we've got going on, it's hard to do.
So
So
that's why we got.
She already volunteered to be the timekeeper, so we have a new
All
timekeeper.
right, there you go. So you'll,
I
that's
think we
fine.
should extend the meeting to an hour and a half.
I have been planning them for an hour and a half,
Oh,
so.
yeah, okay.
so-
good.
Awesome.
So, Mike, we can adjust the invites so that the meetings are an hour and a half, and we're gonna try to stick to that hour and a half.
No,
No?
I would stick with the hour
Okay,
this year because that's what we've already done.
okay.
And then when you start,
Huh,
if you want to start with an hour and a half,
well, we'll see how we go in our
Yeah,
next meetings, and if
I
we're
would,
able to
when
keep
you
it at an
start,
hour,
you
then,
become president, and
Okay.
then we'll do the full year thing.
okay.
And you say, okay, we're gonna have an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's hard to get the reports and then anything else.
That's
done.
my thought
Yeah,
anyway on it, since
yeah.
we're already halfway through, we all got the schedule and stuff, we all have it planned out for an hour, it's already been done that way. You just gotta start sticking to it for a little, like Rob said, you just gotta iron it down a little bit. But then if you want it for an hour and a half, feel free to extend it.
We'll see.
So I
So-
want to say no less than 4 meetings per year, at least one has to be in person.
What?
Yeah.
I could have read that.
Oh.
It said that it was for jump time.
No less than 4 meetings per year.
Just in being involved in another organization similar to this,
Well,
they met at least bi-monthly, if not monthly, so.
Sorry. Oh,
Anyways.
no, no.
So,
I mean, some of the reports can be quarterly too. We don't have to-
yeah, that's
Oh, that's
true.
a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And maybe we could do three
Right.
and three and three or something
Yeah.
like that, where we're just doing three updates, as opposed to all.
Ooh, I really like that.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that.
So
Let's back to-
instead of having a conversation about all these topics, we just focus on that one thing for the. Oh, I know, I look like jaundice, right? So I look down, I'm like, what's wrong with? So. Anyways.
Well, you must be all blue hands over there, Mike. Not too bad.
See, so I don't know if it's just the
It
yellow.
must be the yellow, cause I had the pink and I wasn't,
Yeah.
but my hands are pinkish.
So Jeff, for right now, what's left on the board meeting agenda? Just
So,
those 2 items?
Just those 2 items, the SIG and the GIS day, the LiDAR SIG. And I'll give a quick update on that. We've already discussed, there were 50 people that attended the LiDAR SIG. We had presentations from Keith Weber, Jessica Mitchell, and Troy Blandford. It was excellent. I thought all 3 of those provided a tremendous amount of value to it. We put together a presentation beforehand and they sorted out which slides they were going to cover, and they did an excellent job of that. I have not put the recording out there for people to use because I don't know how to do that. So if somebody could teach me how to get the LiDAR recording out there. Okay, my big struggle is I don't know where to go with it next. Rob, you gave pretty good vision, and we should just talk about what LiDAR is and how you don't have to have the last files. You just need to have the derivative products, and that's how I tried to focus that. And I don't know if we want to talk about DTMs or DEMs or using last files or something, because there was Keith kept pounding that you really should be using last files.
Yeah.
But anyway, lots of engagement and yeah, go ahead, Gail.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I have a suggestion. So, we are gonna be flying LiDAR in the spring. But we also this summer flew a land cover data set. And right now in the Bozeman region and probably everywhere across the country, the wetlands have changed. And so we're looking at water. I would be very interested in hearing a conversation about deriving a water layer from LiDAR versus imagery. I'd like to hear them compare.
We did talk about that.
So I'll just have to get your
Use the
That's-
intensity.
LiDAR's
Yeah.
not great for water, right?
well, that's what I've heard.
Well, you can use the intensity component.
Sorry, I didn't want to sideways everybody, but
This is what we.
Hydro and
Yep,
force
I know.
versus the brake
I
lines,
just need to
right?
watch the video. It's
no.
totally sideways though, you guys.
We talk about that, but
Okay,
Gail, that doesn't require an answer right now.
Right.
But that's, I think, where to go with it. Topics,
Yeah.
right? Like, we don't need to be teaching everybody how to
One-on-one.
do everything or all that.
Mm.
Let them come. You have 50 people attend at the next meeting, whenever you choose to schedule that, say, bring topics to discuss, or submit topics to discuss, and then we'll discuss 3 of them.
okay, let's post the LiDAR session that we did online, right? And then email all the people, because Michelle did a great job of getting all the emails for the people that attended, so we can email that list and say, would anybody here want to present on a particular topic? Or
Not even
spearhead,
present,
spearhead.
Just ask a question.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm a new engineer in Fort Benton,
Mhm.
and I've heard that the county's got LiDAR. I'd like to do a roads, I'd like to do a road design over here. Where can I get the data?
So mine could be, or the first one could easily be, Billings, Montana has never had LiDAR before. We're getting LiDAR in January. What do I need to do to get this information distributed out to the different people in my organization?
I think, if nothing else, excellent topic
Mhm.
is the distribution of the data, right?
Cool.
In some form, the state library solved it for us, right? You just say, go there,
Yep, go to the,
Cool.
right? But that's the important stuff to know. Maybe do a little demonstration on, here are the products that are available. This is how you download them.
On the Montana State Library site. Ooh, I would love that.
If you want to order the last data set, this is how you do it.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
it. That's all it has to be.
yeah, I think we need to take a break. We'll finish up with your discussion after the break, but
Oh, so much pressure.
so.
It'll be underwhelming, I
Sorry,
think.
but I'm just noticing we've been doing this for like 2 or 3 hours, and I'm sure people need to, yeah, so.
How long?
Let's do a 10-minute break.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Everybody?
I was so
You know,
disappointed to miss that.
You know, the
Everybody took over.
grand map
Yeah,
of this thing, you know.
make it easier, right?
Let others contribute.
Yeah.
If they don't, meeting's over.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to force this stuff, you know?
So Gail, you're gonna lead the next LiDAR.
I'm gonna ask the question.
Okay,
It's interesting because, I'm trying to,
It doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Unless you have super dense coverage,
Mhm.
super dense coverage, which means you have to have 80% overlap on your flights, which is expensive.
Mhm.
I'm aware of.
Because
One of the
I
spots.
think the water that you're talking about, like the small creeks.
ditches and streams and canals, yeah. Mhm.
By nature,
Yep,
unless the beam hits it directly like
yeah, on
this,
Mater,
it
yeah.
won't register.
Okay,
So that, you know, if you have vegetation next to the creek and it comes in on the side,
yeah,
you're not gonna catch it.
right.
With the intensity.
There's something on here
So-
that you do the minutes.
It's
That's
really good
past the board meetings.
at identifying the
Local governments.
terrain.
And I
Right,
don't-
right.
and
you
I-
know,
Yep.
Identifying the ditch,
Yeah,
not
okay.
necessarily if there's water.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the new Supreme
Oh.
Court,
Wow, it's you, Joe. I was like, who is that?
well, it just came out just recently that had to do with wetlands, that changes the way that America views wetlands. Is part of a bigger conversation that we're having in the Gatling Valley also with water. And with our branch out Bozeman water layer, where we're trying to identify ditches and streams and canals. And natural occurring streams versus ditches and canals, and that has to do with the amount of setback from the stream, like 10 feet versus 50 feet. But then also being able to identify sensitive land areas, which they have identified the riparian areas as being sensitive. So there's all this conversation that's coming out of it, and we flew this land cover data set so that we could get lawn turf, but then also tree canopy,
Yeah.
and water is going to be one of the layers that comes out of it. And so there's this conversation about, can we use this water layer to help support National Park Service and BLM and all the other people that could use water, but then also to help build this wetland layer, because it's just so hard and elusive.
Yeah, and I don't wanna put it somewhere where it's not.
I don't know, just
Yes.
all these things that I'm thinking about for these layers and which ones are better and how can we use the data.
Yeah.
Like, why, there's
Good luck.
a
I know, well, that's right, like I can give them all the data, but you know, it's wetlands, and so everybody's gonna say, nope, it's not on this parcel. But like at the boundary, that's where it starts.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As far as I know, unless it's.
I've mapped that.
I don't know that.
Okay, well,
That's why-
I'll just get the link to her.
Absolutely, that would be.
And there's always skeptics,
I
right?
can do
And
that.
especially wetlands, it's a super sensitive
Yeah,
topic.
it is.
Because somebody, you know, what's the definition? Well, it's this type of soil.
I know, right, okay,
You know,
see,
so
you're already there,
You're not mapping the
Yeah.
soil, you're mapping the above ground stuff.
yeah,
And so, yeah.
it's interesting to hear your
It's hard
perspective.
to be definitive.
Yeah, and I don't know that we're gonna get anything definitive, but at least something that supports the boots on the ground. Because, and like, we're talking about already at the city actually hiring wetland engineers because of the stuff that came out of the Supreme Court decision. I'm trying to remember, it was the one
So
about,
the navigable water stuff, have
Um,
we changed the definitions of navigable waters?
no, it's maybe, let me see if, I'm gonna have to find it. There's a name for the Supreme Court decision, and it had to do with wetlands, and it was actually in Idaho.
It's the
In Northern
connection, it's the connection, how connected they are. to
Yes,
the ground.
yes, that's
Yeah.
it, exactly.
Came out in the bomber.
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
It just came out this year.
we got implemented maybe this year, right?
I think they finally made the decision this year, but it's been in the courts for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Because it happened, it might have even been 2015. It was in northern Idaho, and it was actually part of the, trying to think of the name of the forest up there, Priest River. was it up at Priest River? And this couple wanted to build, like they had bought their dream land and they wanted to build a house on it and they were right next to the,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's warm in here.
Water. You should not drink caffeine, because that's what's making me fall, like all of a sudden I was having a.
Are you editing the video, Michelle?
I'm editing that video, you know.
Are you gonna take the part out of me and say something new about balance?
No, this is the,
Light, I see.
where's Bill actually recording? Holy cow. Our current board meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then Jeff, I'll just ask, because I can put it on the webpage, but I don't know where the recordings go, so I'll just ask Megan to get it up on the webpage for you. Where they go.
I
on the
think
webpage, though.
somehow Jeff put it on YouTube and then he just linked it, provided the link.
But do you know where he puts it on the webpage?
He puts it in the SIGs, so you have to be a member in order to get access to that link.
Oh, okay.
Because actually, technically, anybody can watch our SIG videos if you know our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Uh,
Just
we're-
post.
So in theory, you know, only the video recordings are available to members, but in practicality, it's actually available to anybody as long as you know the URL. So you
You
can
can just set it up. I can put it on YouTube and I'll just set it to anybody with the link.
Yeah.
I'm just editing like 12 minutes off. Now.
when our prep session,
Nobody wants to see that.
no one wants to. No.
And then do you want me to just send an email out to everybody who attended and let them know it's up? And then
Yes.
just ask, do you want me to ask some feedback on how they felt like it went?
Yes.
Ideas? Okay.
And then another thing could be what future topic do you want to discuss?
Sure.
It's been a long day, folks. So Nate, you did biking on your honeymoon, is that right?
We didn't get.
Oh.
We haven't done safety bikes.
Oh, are you and your wife avid bikers or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm old, yeah, she doesn't bike very much. I bike a little bit more.
Okay.
Getting tired?
I'm getting very tired.
Come on, old man. Save yourself a meal at least.
I know. That's the reward for everybody enduring me for all day is Barclays too, so.
There you go. I think we should probably all at least get a chance to get to our room first.
Yes, absolutely. Michelle made that very point, and that's why the schedule has ending at 5 and not doing dinner till 6.
Well,
Are we interested in doing some sort of thing tonight after Barclays or just?
see what other people want to do, I guess.
I think that is a great idea.
I did see a few people or establishments downtown there. I'm like.
What? I want to go to the brewery.
Yeah.
One of the best in the state, I think.
I've heard that.
What is it called?
Smelter City.
I'll join. I'll join. Where's that at?
Right around the corner from the pizza shop.
Where we were at?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's just like park there and this cruise there. I think yeah.
All right, Gail. The last thing is GIS day discussion.
All right. So GIS Day is Wednesday, November 15th this year. And at our last meeting, this is where you need to listen, So we talked about a lot of different potential events for GIS Day. And one of those was to include the National Geographic app for school kids, which we decided would take way too much work to implement, even though it's super cool. And
We're talking about that.
okay, right?
No,
So at the end of that, what we decided was that the GIS Day events that we'd like to have hosted around the state would be open mapping, like open data mapping, open street map. So Megan and what was that you that was included in that conversation?
I'm just helping to.
Yeah,
address it.
Megan sent me a ton of information about different GIS days that have been hosted in the past. And I did some research. So essentially, the mapathon is for us to decide what we want to map. So there are some different topics that are out there. I've done some research on all of them. So in the past, you guys have done, sorry, let me get to my, I have notes and I have a web page, all kinds of stuff here. Missing maps. So that's actually mapping missing persons. So that's one option. Another one is the humanitarian OpenStreetMap. And then when you go to OpenStreetMap, you have the option to map different different topics. Yeah, so those are the two major ones. And then of course, what we had already talked about with National Geographic. So a couple things that are standing out. So on previous GIS days, when the events have been planned, they've been 3 hours. So like a half an hour to do like an introduction and some training, and then like 2.5 hours to actually do mapping. That's one thing that we need to consider. Another thing we should consider is, do we want everybody to do it at the same time, or does it matter? And if we have this mapathon and we want to have like a competition, what does that competition look like? So I think I can present all of this information to you guys, but I just really feel like it's a discussion. Like we need to make a decision about what we want this GIS day to look like, and then we need to advertise it. So I can tell you that Jeff and I have both talked about this. I actually have already booked our library, and I booked it from 11 to 1 with the idea that potentially we could take it a little bit longer. And we're actually going to host a lunch and then invite anybody that's in the library to come in and join us. But we also have, there's a couple things happening. So our library just recently went through a remodel. And so the city is going to be using our GIS day to be like, hey, come and check out our new library and see what we've done. And we're going to have food. So that's going to be our GIS day. And then you also have booked the library, is that right?
I'm working on it. I've
Okay.
talked to Gavin, who's the department head of the library, and he's connected me with the lady, and I've
Okay.
tried to communicate with her a couple of times, but she's not returning my calls.
Oh, it's really good to have John, because John is a liaison for our library, and he's the director over maintenance facilities, and also been part of we got a lot of money that was donated for that. And so he's always, so he knows all the people at the library. He's like, call this person. And so they take care of it. So we actually are pretty set. So I guess I would be interested in knowing what you guys are interested in. I would say what I think is going to be the easiest to implement and probably make it easier if we wanted to do like any kind of competition would be the open data. Using the OpenStreetMap data. It's super easy to get into it, super easy to teach people how to do it, and you can choose again. And the other thing that I would say is that if we want to choose one thing to map, like
do we want to map streets? And do we want to map streets in a certain area? Or does that matter? Or is it just, let's get in there and map something? So I would be interested in hearing your feedback and any questions that you have.
I think targeting a place would make more of an impact
Yes, okay,
than just random one mapping.
okay.
What for each place? It's like, whatever.
Honestly, I think like in Montana, we may be in a rural area.
Go one
Oh,
spot for
interesting.
everybody.
Is there a way to like, if we were to get into groups of like cities, like Billings meet up, Bozeman meet up, Columbus meet up, if we can form a group and then compare each
Oh.
city's like
I don't know about that.
who did the most?
Well, that's what we talked about, right,
Yeah.
earlier today, right,
Mhm.
some metric, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Miles of this, acres of that, something of that nature.
Yeah, I should find that dashboard, so it's something similar.
So I
Fence
also
mapping.
like the idea of, you know, targeted approach. So what we would need, I think, is some way of identifying a need. Right? I've got it. That's interesting. I was gonna go there, but no. I heard you talking about Fort Peck
oh,
earlier.
Uh-huh.
We're building the Montana Trail, and from Kip's Landing to Fort Peck, it's an area that we're emphasizing currently.
Mhm.
There's a lot of BLM land there. And as you know,
That statewide trail that you're talking about a couple years ago.
yeah, the Montana Trail, so we just applied for a grant to, you know, for some seed money to really hit that stretch heavily to enhance the trail there. Currently, if you're not on public land, we're on a county road. It's not that extent. But I'm thinking there's a lot, so we gotta map something that you can see,
Mhm.
right? And where I'm coming from on that, like Leslie, she initiated this humanitarian GIS, this mapping, right? And they were doing like, you know, piles of elephant dung, something like that, right? So you would get like a stack of images. And you go through those images, you're like, oh, there's one, oh, there's one, oh, there's one. Right?
Mhm.
So that was part of that. But what about like roads? So roads on BLM land,
Awful.
unofficial,
They're getting a grant to map all of them.
yeah, it's gonna take them. But you know what I'm saying? That's something you can see. It's out there, right? You're like, oh wow, look, there's. Anyway, I don't know, like, I don't know if it's feasible, maybe we'd be better off with some. Pre-established. So, you know, something on the open street maps.
Well, that's what I was,
Specific feature that you're looking for, but I would wanna talk to Aaron or something like that through the EMLIAC program. Right, or through EMLIAC, there's certain local governments that have needs for certain things they've applied for grants for, maybe some of that work is unfinished. Stormwater infrastructure, ditches.
so
Ditches in Bozeman.
There you go. I like
that
You know?
is so controversial. Do you want to go there? No, I guess here's the other thing that I was thinking about. Like, I haven't created a username yet. And part of that is because I was wondering, do we want to have like one username that everybody logs in as? Or if like each city has like a point person that creates their own account. I still have to get the details on that. And because I haven't created an account yet, I haven't gone there. But part of it was also, I kind of wanted your feedback before I like dig into it and be like, yep, I think this is what we should do.
Yeah, I think it's hard to build it from the ground up. Right, so
Yeah.
taking something that's established, it's not a bad way to go.
Well, considering you were 2 months out, I mean, we need to advertise this. Get it out
Yeah.
now. Obviously, I think that's already established.
I was just wondering if, like, it depends on you're expecting to come, because I know in OpenStreetMap, there's like different user types of levels. So if you have like one profile, you differentiate those levels.
Oh, that's interesting. So right now I'm on the sign up page and it's free and editable. Unlike other maps, OpenStreetMap is completely created by people like you and it's free for anyone to fix, update, download, and use. Sign up to get started contributing. We'll send an email to confirm your account. So I'm just gonna use my Bozeman. Sorry, this is kind of on the fly, but I just had so many questions about it that I felt like I was not sure that I could answer these without having the whole group. But I would be curious to know how others of you feel about, I'm gonna put Magip as my display name. And I wonder if everybody can do that. It gives you an option to do that.
You know, another interesting idea that ties a lot of stuff together. Got LiDAR data for a lot of the state, and we have hillshades of that. We could, you know, like for, I'm thinking on the Flathead Indian Reservation, you know, you've got lots of little ponds, little things like that. There's a need to map all of the little ponds. Right, and so, you know, we can take advantage of data that collected, everybody gets a tile, go through and find all the little ponds.
On that note, what if there's a city or county that has digitizing needs? We could volunteer to help them create a database of an inventory of their information.
Well, that would be really cool if we had our ArcGIS Online account up and running. Which we could do, because it sounds like we're gonna do that soon. That would be different than OpenStreetMap. How would that look for users? Like, in terms, would everybody be able to have their own username?
I don't know what our limitation is.
I
on
thought it was
users.
100, but.
If it's both. Yeah, what if it's both,
Yeah,
right? So there's a top, like just said, maybe there's a municipality that needs some digitizing done, which accomplishes an element that's available in OpenStreetMap.
I'm trying to, I bet it went to.
With our GIS route, like 911 addressing or something that's a hot topic in Montana GIS right now,
Mhm.
that could be a pretty beneficial thing to those communities because they can't afford to hire a GIS person.
The only concern I have is data quality. Right? Not big potholes, something like that, nobody's dying, getting hurt, get that wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if you
Yeah, the
digitize,
liability
you know,
of it.
digitizing and then like leaving gaps or overlaps, you know, these constantly have to fix it. I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say,
More
it's
useful
easy to
than
spin a
mapping
project up
down
like
in-
that.
Yeah.
It'd be real data.
It would.
It would take QAC, but I don't know. It's an idea.
Do you have a way of identifying something?
We could send out an email.
Well, we could reach out to Aaron,
Cities or counties or,
Oh,
yeah.
Aaron Bushway.
I'm thinking you specifically in the Department of Transportation, do you know of areas?
Well, we're mapping out all of our S4 assets in different areas right now. We've hired consultants to do that. And that's a bit technical because stormwater systems are complex, but
Mhm.
I don't know, speed limit signs, things like that. I don't know.
You have to be able to see on something that on a computer. Right?
I'm still a little confused on what we're trying to do. Everybody, are we different communities? And I'm sorry, I'm not understanding.
No, that's okay.
Think of it as crowdsourcing.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, so we're having communities, say Billings and Bozeman, just for example.
Yep.
So Bozeman's gonna set up a class at a library for 3 hours. And we're gonna teach,
Well, it's gonna be a party.
okay, a party, and we're gonna teach ArcGIS online or street map. And then they're gonna create maps. Did I?
Features on
They're gonna,
Features on the
they're gonna
map.
heads up.
Okay, so they're
digitize.
gonna create their own data, they're not gonna go, are they going out and collecting stuff, or?
No.
It's
No,
it's heads up-
no.
What they see online?
It's heads up
Oh,
digitization.
It
Yeah.
has to be
Okay.
fairly well canned, right? Like you gotta have the underlying data that you can,
Okay.
look at, and then you have people making features, lines.
Right.
points, whatever.
Like, we'll
Okay.
request some imagery from Maxar. They wanna give it out for free.
We're just doing this to give exposure to what we do and stuff like that.
Help the community.
Oh, yeah, we're okay. Okay. Well, we're not trying to grade it or
No,
contest wise on it or anything like that.
It would qualify.
If
Well,
it's
that
a
was-
contest, then we can sit there, I mean, if somebody's drawing lines and they're not connected properly, then we can say, well. this is
There's no
something you didn't do,
apology.
you know, or.
Well, some people
You wouldn't get into that.
has to go in and check somebody else's. So it's, and there's like multiple systems of checks.
Oh, yeah, I don't go on there, so that's.
But I don't
okay.
think like we would be the ones like looking over people's shoulders to double check.
Oh, okay.
yeah, you submit it. OpenStreetMaps, I didn't know this until I started looking into it. It's like wiki. Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Right, so you might write the history of Billings,
Oh, right, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, yeah.
and then I'm like, yeah, actually.
And you go in there and edit it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this link with you. This is what the Mapathon dashboard that I found.
Same thing with the feature, right? You look at features, somebody reviews them, and you're like, oh, actually, that's okay.
Sure. Okay.
What's your official email?
It is SprockJ, SPROCKJ at billingsmt.gov.
And Jeff, you're getting a library for Billings,
I'm trying.
so who teaches it?
I was taking on that responsibility.
Okay. I was just wondering, I just didn't know what was going on in the Billings area at the time, but I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe some things to think about. I think this is fantastic. It's a wonderful way for us to contribute, our efforts and skills to the broader, to the state.
Got it.
Okay.
But, it's gonna take a lot to do it right.
Well, so I just created a username
Sorry.
and learned how to edit. So I went through the tutorial while you all were talking. And I had the option to choose Montana, US. So now I'm at Montana. And it looks like you have the option to choose points, lines, and polygons to create. So I think that as a team, we just need to say, yep, we're gonna map Fort Peck, right? We're gonna zoom to this area. And I think that people should create their own username. And then, but I don't know how we would get data out of that, although it does give you an option to export the data. So, so maybe the idea is that if we could export it and then make it into a map and that we could display on, right?
That's the nice.
Is that it?
That's the way
Okay.
we connect it.
Yep,
We-
that's it.
we
Okay.
use this platform.
Yes.
To get the tools and
Yes.
everything, right?
Yep.
Export the data, then bring it into our AJOL
Yeah.
incidents, and we can follow up with that.
So this is their
Give
little
out some money, maybe
description.
$50
And then
so that they're-
if you scroll up and click the
So let's,
ESP button behind the, behind the.
oops. Shoot. Flip it up.
Then if you scroll down again, you'll see their little dashboard.
We
So,
did Fort Peck, we won't probably want to talk to American Territory
okay.
Reserve.
yeah, so they had teams
Mhm.
and they were doing
Okay.
buildings,
I don't know if they have an active GIS person. in there.
roads.
No,
In Peru.
she was on
Yeah.
board,
That was
Wow.
nice.
yeah.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
envisioning is you'd have a short 30-minute tutorial. Okay, this is how you use the
They didn't
website.
fire her, but-
Yep.
This is what GIS is.
Yep.
Interesting.
This is, there are many people in your community that are doing this. I was in meeting with Bobby Johnson at the police department and they have to like buzz me in while I'm sitting out there. I'm talking a guy who got his bike stolen, and it turns out he's GIS professional.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, working for the federal government.
Right,
So, anyway, so you can explain that there are GIS professionals all across your community. They're making awareness of what GIS is, and then maybe building future GIS professionals, right?
Yep. That's
so-
what we were thinking too. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm only gonna do 2 hours unless you guys can make an argument for me to do 3. 3 hours feels like a lot of time to be doing this, but maybe not. Convince
You probably
me.
end up doing an hour of mapping, right? An
Yeah.
hour lead in and getting everybody settled in, and then an hour of work,
Yeah.
or half an hour, and then a half an hour to build it done.
No, I bookended it with a half an hour to set it up and a half an hour to break it down. So it's 2 hours.
I think people might be more willing to spend more time.
Yeah, well, we were thinking like the library, like whoever was in the library, we could just, because we're gonna have our GIS team there. And then whoever wants to map while we're there, and we got a special room that we can hook up computers to. So we can,
Anything's better than nothing.
yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm willing to look at Helena, the library book there.
okay, yeah. So I think that when we advertise it, I love the idea of using the local library. Just because the local library is just such a wonderful resource, and I don't drink beer, don't hold it against me. But I love the idea of being in a public place that brings in the community to talk about GIS. And we talked about doing some like banners or just some, like a poster that we could put up, and it doesn't have to be anything expensive. We're actually going to use some poster board that we have and clip something that we print on our plotter. But that's what we're talking about. And I feel like that, like the OpenStreetMap, book it in the library, do it on the day, send us your pictures, and then we'll get the content and display it on the map. How does that sound?
That's what I was thinking.
Is that a party? Yeah. And then there was a question about whether or not funds would be available, like Magip funds to like pay for pizza. Is that something that we want to do?
Call it a meetup.
Call it a meetup. So maybe that could be part of the social media that we send out, that, GIS Day, Magip, advertise. Do we have to advertise Magip there as part of that to be able to get funds for it?
Yeah.
Do we need to put Magip?
We have,
Well, like
Yeah, if we're gonna sponsor it, yeah,
the
absolutely.
new, our policy is you have to have a sign-in sheet,
Okay,
you have to have pictures, and you have to have a write-up on the event.
okay,
And we have, if you're at the library, we have a banner. Put the banner up.
right, okay. So a sign-in sheet, pictures, and a write-up.
Yeah.
And I think those pictures would be super cool if we could push those to Alicia
Oh, absolutely.
and then get those out there, and then,
Certainly do the advertising too.
yeah,
Do the 3-week out or whatever.
That's exactly what she did last year.
okay,
And it was just, brewery meetups, but
Right.
we could do that for any type of event. And if people wanted to host their own brewery event in the evening, I don't see why they.
well, that was the other thing that I was thinking, that it'd be really cool if others in the community wanted to have an event later, that they could. But I think that just what makes this really cool is that it just makes it very accessible to younger people and the people in the library. And for us, we have a pretty cool library, so it'd be fun to celebrate that in there. Yeah. So, and also keep it during the day, because I'm not in my either. All right. So the follow-up from my part is that I will put something together, like a banner or something, and then like, I personally feel like everybody should create their own account. And then at the end of when they're mapping, maybe Tessa, you can help me with this on the export part. Let's make sure that the data that we can export at, it says overpass API downloading. Maybe you can help me with that. Make sure that we can get the data in the right format to be able to bring it in. And then do you want to create a dashboard? Is that what you're thinking? Okay, so Hillary's going to do the dashboard.
Yeah, maybe make a template if there are other meetups.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, we
Yeah,
could,
we could
this is
share
what
that.
we're doing. Yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome. Okay.
So like the steps to sign up for the account and what data we'll be using, will that be provided? Or do we need to go out there and research and get that information?
Nope,
ourselves?
you know what I will do is I will provide the link. Walk them through, okay, let me make a note, provide link. Steps to sign in, and then the last steps to get credit for your team. Do we need a team name?
Of course.
Ah, okay.
So, you know what, I was just like putting all kinds of things together. We could make this into a local government thing,
A local government event.
something
Oh, yeah.
the local government SIG does. Right, so every municipality might have a mapping. unit.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for, that as many organizations that we can get across the state to do something, and I guess I always envisioned it that way.
You just
As
need a
being-
champion that
Yeah,
has GIS
somebody in your
expertise.
neighborhood that will
Sydney,
host it at the library.
but you know what I mean, that could be the next meeting.
Oh, them
Could be
just mapping.
mapping.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep. We're gonna attack,
Yeah.
grass range or something like that.
Yeah, what a great idea. So the last thing that I'll need to know is the area that you want to map and what features.
But
So,
that's why I say if we query
Okay.
the local government folks, you know, maybe each one of their communities has a feature that they need. Of the bike trails.
yeah, okay. Oh, I see what you're
City
saying.
trees in Shoto, Montana. They probably don't have a good set of all the city trees.
They actually do, and the reason I know that because my husband's a forester and he just mapped it.
There we go.
I guess that's not a need.
Right? There are a lot of small towns though that don't, and a lot of them that are dead, because, yeah, it's a thing. Anyway,
Yeah, the urban forestry is a big deal.
yeah, it's a very big deal, so. Okay, so the other thing that I would ask is if we're gonna do it kind of like a challenge for communities across, what does that look like? Like, do we have a winner? Like, what does a winner look like? Are we gonna have a prize?
Oh, yeah.
What's the prize? Like, what's that gonna be?
Your own picture on Instagram.
Are we still gonna do the map contest?
Well, that's what this would be. This would be,
This would be an alternative to the web map, because we have
No, yeah.
prizes for web map competition.
oh, I'm
on
sorry.
GIS Day.
I didn't know. I wasn't planning any kind of web map.
That's something
But that
we
could
need to
be
get
something
organized though,
else.
right? Is.
Okay.
The other, you could do both.
Okay, what do you guys think?
Here's another thing we could take further, right? Because we usually have the map contest at the conference.
Mhm.
So we could say, hey, we collected all this data on GIS, data.
Mm.
Grab the data, make a cool map with it. And that's what the contest is gonna be based on.
All the
Like-
data that everybody mapped, or only the data that your team?
We'll have a bag of data, or many bags of data. Right, and you can reach in there and grab some and make something interesting with it.
Something
Anything
from
that's
the
key.
data from GIS Day in
Yeah.
Montana.
Yeah,
I love that.
You really
And
nice.
then we're gonna make it available on the,
yeah.
Well, then
Yeah,
you're
they
making
just-
that, so you're making the map contest, not part of GIS Day, you're making it part of the conference.
I skipped ahead to the
Yeah,
conference.
yep.
Right, so we're having GIS day.
Right,
On
no.
this day,
Well,
we're
I got it,
doing the data collection, and then we have that data available for interested people to make creative maps. with.
I think the thing that's really cool about that is that we're in that kind of area of where you guys have already talked about, are posters relevant anymore? And I do have to say that one of the funnest things about going to the conferences is looking at the maps. And I'm a very tactile person, really visual person. And so while I think applications are super cool, I love the maps. Like, there are things that you learn, and we all know this, preaching to the choir, but I love the idea of us creating maps that we're printing, that we're putting on the wall from data that we've collected as part of a group team effort. I think that sounds really cool.
You mentioned this earlier, but the Woodford, community credit maps, and I like that idea. You know, even the putting up the boards, and kind of creates some texture to the room, and those are like little spaces where people can meet, and talk, and
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
and I do, I mean, I think all of us spend way too much time behind the screen.
Mhm.
It's nice to get away and into the, thing with it.
But it still takes me back to the idea of what does the winner look like? Like, is there a first prize, second prize, or we just give one prize? Hey, you came, we'll send you a, a widget because you participated. What does that look like?
To me, if you have, some people do points, some people do lines, some people do polygons, it's more difficult to
Right.
to quantify.
Right.
Unless you do something like features per person.
5 points for a polygon, 3 points for a line, 1 point for a point.
How
Yeah, I mean,
many vertices did you draw in your polygon? That's that.
Segments to a line.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a huge fan of the everybody's a winner thing, because then it's not, but maybe, but if you don't couch it as a competition, it's counted as participation.
Mhm.
I do like a little edge to it,
I
though.
get excited about it. Oh, map the most stuff.
Gamification.
Well, I guess that goes back to, do we want to specify an area? Or do we want to make it part of the local SIG and have the local choose what they're mapping for their area?
I'd be curious to watch some of the videos they have backed hours, one of them mapping rural America.
Oh, I would love to see that.
So they probably already have like ideas. for-
Could you share that with me? Because I didn't find that one in there.
And if we float the idea sooner rather than later, we can see what if there is demand,
Where,
from local governments.
when's the next local government SIG? Let me look on the calendar.
It's Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. That was perfect timing. Do you think we could get Andrew to add it to the agenda? Do you think you have any problems with that?
I don't think so at all, considering he has issues. Oh my.
He already has a fairly elaborate agenda set for this. He sent that out to me. So as again, it's all,
What, him?
yeah. So
Can we cut him down a little bit?
Yes, I'm sure.
And all you gotta do is make the announcement.
Yeah, it's just an announcement. It's like
Okay.
five minutes. Yeah,
Send me an email if you have ideas or needs or something.
well, and we've kind of worked through the details of it, so.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've heard.
well, I think right now we're just kind of trying to decide like what's gonna get mapped. If people have ideas for their location, or I guess the other option would be, we could say, hey, if you don't have anything in your community that needs to be mapped, let's focus on Fort Peck on these features. But if you have something in your local area that needs to be mapped, tell us what it is and then go for it, right?
Yeah.
So that would be another way that we could approach it.
Talk to the state library about it too, where there's voids and similar.
Some of their data.
Yeah.
That would be getting a hold of Aaron.
Yeah.
Did you say that, Aaron, you have a meeting with Aaron?
no, with
Yeah.
Dan.
Jan. Aaron, I have a meeting with Jan. Aaron hasn't responded. She's hard to get. She's hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sound good to everybody? Do we have any unanswered questions? What's the prize?
Send Eric for a text.
Tell her that she needs to respond to the email that I sent her. No.
Yeah, I gotta get my other phone back.
Say please. And we did actually talk about like this too, so it's not like, right side.
Tell her to just check her.
Yeah.
The thing about prize is, we're not children.
But it's a good-
Lollipop is the thing per day.
What is $100?
But yes. But what if, like, it depends on how we do it, right?
Right.
Like, it depends on what we map. If we're
Mhm.
mapping stuff in Helena, in Bozeman, and in Billings, maybe we get a certificate of appreciation from the city
Mhm.
to the, to the people who participated.
Well, I would say that for
Yeah,
the
that's
city
better
of
than a month.
Bozeman, we wouldn't be using data from OpenStreetMap, but I could definitely see us going to a rural area to support a rural area. To do mapping. Like,
Oh,
We
well, why
spend-
should they have shitty data?
well, I could send Presley over with our $15,000 Trimble and get 2 centimeter accuracy on something that they're never gonna look at or know how to display.
I think we keep it simple. If they've already got, dedicated areas that need attention, I get trying to relate it back to Montana, but I feel like we're biting off more than we can chew.
Okay, so just pick a spot.
Yeah.
And
And she's got it. She's in Montana right now.
yeah, I'm in Montana. You
Okay.
can choose Montana and you can map whatever you want. It's just like, what are you gonna map?
Yeah, so we're gonna map assets, or we're gonna map networks, like, we were talking BLM roads.
Yeah.
Potholes.
Maybe it's for the organizer to decide.
At the local, like, the team.
Well, let's say you have a group, you got 7 people at your
Mhm.
table.
Mhm.
You could probably decide at that point, what are we gonna do?
Urban forestry, did you say that was coming? Can we do that?
I mean, honestly, stuff you can see.
I could talk to our foresters and see if there's some sort of mapping need that we would, the city of Billings. I know we have a huge buckthorn problem.
Mapping sidewalks. Well, places that have sidewalk inventories.
Oh, yeah.
For
We have a
Mapping
computer.
safety.
That's why
Yeah, it's river channels and ditches, canal.
Yeah, especially after the flood, there's all kinds of new channels.
Well, depends on the imagery you have. I don't know what the imagery here, and how recent that is, would have to be after the flood from last year, so. I guess, yeah. But is your map gonna let you?
Well, it's on the website.
But is it in the near map application? That's what
Well,
we're
it's there too, yeah.
He has a hard copy.
I'm sorry.
You have a hard copy of the imagery, right?
I have a hard copy of it, but we are linked to their, so it's on our
Their
website.
service.
Yeah, but it's their, service.
Okay. Well,
I think we should, actually, now that I think about it, we should probably think about what we're gonna map beforehand,
yes.
and then maybe have some examples.
Mhm,
Like, hey, this is what a urban tree looks like.
mhm. Well, and
Something.
identifying a tree from imagery is problematic. I mean,
Yeah.
just for us, our imagery, we fly leap off. And so how are you gonna identify what kind of tree?
You'd have to have a bleed or
Yeah,
something like
There's
that.
nothing that you could do with that, but trails is a big one. And I think, Rob, you had mentioned also that there are corridors, like electric corridors
Yeah.
that go through forests. Is there some place that we can identify, like go here and map through here? But we don't want
Yeah.
people in the same places either, right?
Hope Northwest Energy would know where the power lines are.
Well, a lot of them do, but they won't share the data.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the challenge, is like, they're not gonna give you their data. It's take an active Congress to get it. quite frankly.
Let me share a story with you on that.
Public service.
Can you turn the recording off? No, I'm serious.
Oh.
So,
And this might take a little research, but
I-
surely people have done this before.
I think this is a great topic, but it does require research
Yeah.
and maybe move on
Yeah,
at this
sorry.
point and then reconvene maybe soon.
So the goal is to have this, man, GIS day is almost here.
Right.
We got 2 months, right? Essentially a little under 2 months to get this all figured out, so.
There's no reason we couldn't have a special phone call, a special meeting next week or week after. Right, to kind of come back with some more details.
To me, the easiest, what I'm looking for is an easy button. So if they've already got an area of Peru or an area, I get trying to relate it back to Montana,
No,
but I don't know what.
we can do something here in Montana.
Oh, yeah, we can do Montana. We just have to figure out
We
what the
just have
feature
to
is
figure out-
and where where?
What item we're gonna pick.
So do we need to get an email out to our members and say we're wanting to do a mapathon? Is there anything that you could recommend to us as something that needs to be mapped in the state of Montana, or do we want to not even open that can of worms up?
If you do that, I would say give them 3 to 5 options, say which ones you want to do.
I think it's
I like the idea of, talking and seeing what kind of needs from them. To help find an idea and everything.
What about the local government SIG
That's,
meeting?
yeah, let's not.
Oh, yeah, let's-
Okay.
yeah,
stop
yeah.
going in
Okay,
circles.
So let's do
We've
that.
got on Thursday, local government meeting, you pose
Okay.
that question.
Okay,
Can you reach
And I'll
out to
do more
Andrew and
research.
let
I
him know?
will.
Okay.
okay. Yep,
So I think we got it figured out. Our next step is at the local government meeting, we're gonna find a topic or area of interest for the mapathon, and we'll get that information out, and then we'll start planning them across the state.
okay,
And with that, that is all I had on the agenda. I had a strategic planning wrap up, but we really haven't gone through that whole process yet, so I'm gonna just skip that agenda item. I take a motion to adjourn our board meeting.
Board meeting,
Yes.
Yeah, this is
but
like a
not,
board meeting.
but not retreat.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
3-hour board meeting.
That was a 3-hour board meeting
It's a
this
3-hour
time.
board meeting.
I
motion to-
motion, yeah, go ahead.
I motion to
Okay,
adjourn.
I'll second it.
all right, so it's motioned and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. So you got that was Gail and Mike, right? All those in favor of adjourning the board meeting?
Alright.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously. All right, I can say the word. All right. Now I think we're almost done with the day. I want to be done by 5. I think you all deserve a break for the hard work you've all been doing today. And I'd like us to have a good time at Barclays. I think our reservations are at 6. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Michelle? So I don't know if we want to get into the hot topics discussion, table the hot topics discussion, because we haven't even gotten to accomplishments, and tomorrow we've got the work plan and the breakout sessions that we have to do. So just a kind of some history, if you don't know, the work plan is essentially what we're going to try to get accomplished in this next year. The accomplishments are what we accomplished in the last year, and the breakout sessions are where we, like Tessa, you start getting into the details of what you're going to do for the technical workshops. We do that for the Big Sky GeoCon, and then we have one for member development. So we'll break out the late, I can't remember, is it Peggy or Patty? Patty has a couple of different areas that we can go and do the breakout sessions. So what is your feedback on what we should do? Should we just adjourn for the day? Do you want to try to hit hot topics? Where are we at, folks?
Well, what is hot topics?
I think there's a lot to do tomorrow, you can't accomplish it.
Hot topics, hot topics is just things that,
Oh, I see. Oh.
yeah, Gail has some really cool stuff on the Global Climate and Geodesign Challenge, something that she's seen recently. I would like to pursue the idea of getting a code of ethics for Magip. There's one from ERISA, and we could probably just copy a lot of what's in ERISA, but I think it's very important as a GIS professional know that there are ethics and what we should and shouldn't do, and that should be something we should be promoting, but that's just mine personally. And then the website. Mike had a whole bunch of stuff he needed to discuss on the website. And did I ever close out the meeting? I did not. So yeah.